that we've seen some more signings come through, and yesterday we discussed Juju Smith-Schuster and plan, but does it allow you to have more flexibility in the draft? And I think both things can be true. The one thing, though, like the idea that they can just take best player available, I don't know if I'm sold on that yet because
until defensive
they
line?
haven't addressed defensive line. Yeah, Tillery's a nice signing, but he's a Derek Nottie type of replacement. Charles Menahue's still out there. They haven't replaced him. They haven't replaced Turk Warden. So the defensive line actually is not a scenario where you can just say, oh, we'll pass on that for best player available.
No, yes and no, right? Obviously, they brought in Tillery, so that replaces the Nottie replacement. Dana is still here. They obviously still have, and look, I think a lot of this would depend on your confidence level in FAU. If he is at least a rotational defensive lineman who plays way more snaps at defensive end this year, then I actually think there is an argument for best player available and you're not forced to take a first-round defensive lineman. If you're not a believer in him, he's kind of the swing guy in this case where it's like, well, you need at least one more. And with one single defensive lineman signing, I would say you make the argument of, then you're really not obligated to do anything. You have a starting 5 offensive line today, if you have to, and I would think that would include Kingsley at left guard. Worst case scenario, Caliendo, who played left guard for you a decent chunk last year as well. You already had your left tackle, center, right guard, and right tackle, so okay. You have enough running backs to walk into a camp with if you want. You and I desperately want them to take a running back, and both think that they will. Because of the signing of Fulton, you're good there. Like, the only position you can even make an argument for that they have to draft sometime in the first 2 picks because they need them to play immediately is defensive line. My biggest fear is that they go into the draft. That appears to be the case. They only need a defensive lineman. And then they take some other project offensive lineman like Simmons or Connerly or one of these other guys and decide like, well, maybe he'll start at left guard instead of Kingsley. Or maybe we'll just develop him as a tackle and he'll be ready for Jawan the next year. And then you're trying to count on a second-round defensive lineman starting day one from you, which could be the case. Sometimes second-round defensive linemen do start day one, but sometimes they don't.
I'm fine with them taking a tackle still fairly high, offensive tackle that is, fairly high. But as it currently sits, the number one hole remaining on the team is defensive line. I mean, that's just very, very clear. They're set at linebacker. I think they're in pretty decent shape at corner, although we both think, yes, they should draft one at some point. Running back, technically, if they had to go in to play a game tomorrow, running back is set, even though we want them to draft an explosive running back. Like, positionally, if you go across the board, everywhere but defensive line, could they go into a game and I feel decent about where they're at? And so, I think right this second, if you and I were doing mock drafts like everybody else is doing, I would probably mock a defensive lineman to them because simply they don't have that need. They have that need. They don't have that area addressed. Now, look, if later in this week they go and they sign a veteran edge rusher or defensive lineman, maybe it changes my thought process. I keep using Menahue's name only because we know him here and he had the numbers that he's had here recently. But pick any other veteran remaining defensive lineman. If they go and sign somebody, then maybe that changes the thought process.
Yeah, and it could. And again, we've mentioned, like, I went through the free agent defensive line list. It's not as fun as it was like 3 weeks ago when we did this, and we're like, look at all of these free agent defensive linemen. Ooh, so many available options. Look at all these choices. It's starting to get bleak. It's starting to be like, I'm not totally sure who that dude is. And if they sign one of these guys, I am going to have to look up who they are. Like, a huge chunk other than Charles Menahue. Like,
it's one of the few names they still recognize out there.
Yeah, unless it's him or like maybe one or two other where you're like, I think maybe I've heard of that player, and I don't know if they're 25 or 34, and it's like maybe. It's kind of that level of defensive lineman now. Not zero out there. There are still a couple of names outside of just a Menahue. I can't figure out his market. His agent must have been way off on his figure.
He clearly a year ago thought he deserved an extension even after the ACL injury. And then the market once again has told him that's not what you're worth right now, man. And I'm sure think about like in your normal job, right? Like if you believe you're worth something and someone by not doing it flat out basically tells you, yeah, man, you're not worth what you think you're worth.
That's not a nice conversation.
That sucks, right? Nobody wants to hear that. And so I'm sure there's a little bit of pouting, if you will, that's going on. At some point, he's going to sign with somebody, but maybe he says, "Well, then I don't need to sign now. Why am I going to? If that's what the money's going to be, that money's not going to be any lower in a month from now. If it's already taken the huge dip, we're not even in. We can't even call it like free agency wave 2, 3, or 4 anymore. We're on like wave 6 of free agency.
Probably. I mean, we're down to the most of these guys are getting 1-year deals portion of free agency. Maybe there's a multi-year deal hiding out there for someone like Aaron Rodgers.
If I'm him and it's clear that there isn't a multi-year deal, let's say that's the reason. Maybe it's the money. Maybe it's just the years aren't there. If it's only a 1 year, if you're him, even if you're upset that a certain team didn't value like the Chiefs, why wouldn't you come back here where you've had success? If it was another 1 year opportunity at, let's call it $12.5, $13 million, and I could be low, but I don't think I'm at that low anymore. It's this far into it. I don't think it's crazy to think that he could only get a 1 year, $10 to $12 million deal anymore.
I would have thought that was low before, but we've talked about this when we were addressing like other players in the past. Sometimes the market on a player is way higher than I would have anticipated. I would have never guessed that Turk Wharton would have been 3, 4, 54.
That deal looks still incredible for him more and more every day.
Yeah, and some markets, and he sent out like a little thank you post, which was nice. Mm-hmm. And some markets have been lower. Like Charles Omenihu, I think the biggest thing for him, it must just be nobody thinks he can get through 17 games. That's got to be it. There's not a single team in the NFL who looks at Charles Omenihu and says he can consistently win for 17 games. And be honest, he was on the field for a decent chunk for the Chiefs last year, but they still weren't a very good pass rush. It's not like he elevated them to some like super high level in the 6 games he played. Now he's coming off a major injury, and you and I both know we thought he was really good in the 11 games he played before that. But he has, in his last 5 NFL seasons, played 1 complete year. He is more likely to play less than 9 games than complete a year. So, like, I assume that now, looking back at it, his market is so shrunk due to the fact that man just can't be on a football field. And the Chiefs can afford a player like that, in my opinion, because you can still take a defensive lineman who comes into the rotation early. Technically, they could start 4 guys across right now. You just wouldn't feel super comfortable with it. And because Tillery and Chris Jones, you have your normal amount of like interior guys that kind of fit. But I think they're trying to set themselves up in the draft, and maybe they're just the one defensive lineman away. I think they're trying to set themselves up in the draft, Gold, in a way that they don't feel that pressure.
Well, yeah,
because they felt that pressure before, and I think it's when they make their worst picks. Honest to God. When they have a position they desperately have it, I think it's when they do their worst.
913-586-7965. Someone from the 816 says, why do we continue with the notion that the O-line is fixed when we decide a backup left tackle to start and lost your best guard? It's not so much that I think it's just fixed, problem solved, nothing to see here. When we were going through, have they addressed the need? They have addressed it. I have no idea if Jalen Moore
drafted offensive lineman. They just don't have to in the first or the second.
I have no idea if Jalen Moore is going to turn out to be a really good left tackle or not.
I'm not sure.
But if we're just going through what we were discussing from a draft need, did they address offensive line? Yeah, they've addressed it. It doesn't mean like you don't have to like believe in the plan, but the notion that they haven't addressed it. The only thing they have not addressed this offseason is the defensive line. That's it. Everywhere else they've addressed. They've come up clearly with their plan. Doesn't mean they won't draft another corner or another wide receiver or another offensive lineman. No, but I think there's a difference in the conversation of like saying not being happy with what they did versus did they address it. In their mind, they addressed left tackle. And I told you, and I think, Cody, you agreed, other than Ronnie Stanley, they, to me, got the best available option for what is a bad offseason to try to address your left tackle.
Yeah, they really, again, you and I, they don't have a long-term answer at either tackle spot.
Nope.
They signed a 2-year deal. By NFL standards, it's a 1-year deal. We've seen the structure. It is a 1-year deal. They could bring him back for a second, or if he kicks ass, then they can try to make it a long-term solution. But they don't know for sure that it's a long-term solution. Jawan Taylor isn't a long-term solution. They're all locked up at guard, we think, if Kingsley can make that transition. And Brett Veach seems pretty optimistic that the people internally think that case. I'm not saying don't draft one. I'm not even saying I'd be mad if they took one in the first round necessarily, other than my general feeling of I hate that the Chiefs keep taking first-round picks and they're like, oh, we'll get to him in a year or so, especially in a year where I think they're going to need more starters than they did when they took a guy like FAU. But I just don't think that they have to take, well, we better take this in the first round, or what if we get nobody who can start for us? Defensive line is the only position left where I'm like, do you have to take it in the first round? Do you have a choice?
Coming
That's
up
kinda what it
in
is.
20 minutes, we'll get to something Drew asked us when we were discussing Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but it has to do with the rest of the NFL and some of the teams that are contenders or not contenders. That's coming up in 20 minutes. But let's pivot to baseball a little bit. We know we're inching closer and closer. A week from Thursday, opening day out at Kauffman Stadium, Royals, Guardians, Cole Reagan's, of course, the opening day starter. And I had a fantasy baseball draft last night. We're getting close. We'll get to apparently there was a baseball game this morning. I had no idea.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know the baseball season started today. Nice job, Rob Manfred, on that one. But I want to talk about Jonathan India. We've gone through a couple players and what we're expecting here in 2025, what we expected out of Vinny, what we expected out of some other pieces with this team. How about Jonathan India? The big offseason acquisition, we all know the trade with Brady Singer and the Cincinnati Reds to make that thing happen. We had Jonathan India on the show a couple weeks ago, got to know him a little bit. What do you expect out of him? We know he is your leadoff hitter for probably 150-plus games this year, set the tone, get on base, should help Bobby Wood Jr.'s RBI numbers as well, even better than what they were. I think for him, he's somebody that ideally, like if you're talking about ideal scenario, he's hitting the low 260s batting average, getting 10 to 15 stolen bases himself to try to get to second while Bobby and Vinny are up after him. And he's someone that probably is in that 90 to 95 runs scored range. That's kind of, from a statistical standpoint, that's to me a very good season and realistic season for Jonathan India.
I know there's a lot of people who would like a higher average guy as their leadoff hitter, and I get it. Like, right, in a dream world, your leadoff hitter hits 300 and has a 400 on-base percentage or anything else that would make you feel comfortable with having him in that spot. My biggest expectation for Jonathan India is I want to watch this lineup and be like, well, that's a professional on-base getter. More than anything else he does. Last year, having to watch them cycle through available options in the leadoff spot. And to be honest, not good options in the leadoff spot where they tinkered and moved and couldn't get guys on base in front of Salvi, Vinny, and Bobby, who were all having really good years and being run-producing, middle-of-the-order bats. Like, again, they were all on pace for 100 RBI. I just want to feel like that's a professional leadoff hitter.
Yeah.
If I got nothing more than that out of Jonathan India, I would probably consider it a win. But because they traded their number 3 or 4 starter, depending on how you view it, in the lineup, I do kind of want to see a resurgence that if he's protected in a good lineup at a place that should benefit him, like Kauffman Stadium, gaps, double guy, I kind of want to see a resurgence back to closer to what he was his rookie year. Maybe not a 270, 380 on base guy like he was his rookie season when he won Rookie of the Year, but closer to that, like 265, 360, be on base in front of those 3 guys all day long. And honestly, I think you're going to notice it immediately. For as much as they struggle in the leadoff spot, I think you'll notice immediately that he's a
legit leadoff hitter is what he is. That's the difference.
And
someone said, hey, throw in the walk numbers. Sure. I mean, I just assume the walk numbers are going to be there. I mean, he was top 10 in baseball in walks, I believe, last year. So there's no reason to believe that won't be the case. The reason why I said, hey, I think you'd be happy with a low, 265, low 260s batting average is because, in his career, he has not hit above. You said he hit in his rookie year 270, but he's not been above a 270 hitter ever.
It was 269 or something.
Yeah, he's never hit above 270, and he's never stolen more than 14 bases. So that's why I think the range I gave you when we started this conversation for Jonathan India, like, hey, what's realistic? Can you get to 10 to 15 stolen bases on top of that? Again, 90 runs scored, and his on base percentage obviously with the walks factored in. So that's where I'm at for Jonathan India. The only reason why some of these numbers are fresh is literally somebody definitely drafted Jonathan India because we're a Kansas City Fantasy Baseball League. Drafted him a little higher than probably should. I can't remember the exact round.
You took him?
I did not. No, I did not. He went off in my mind way too early. Like everybody's because you get
good for the walks category.
There's no walk category. But there's an average category.
Is there an on-base category?
No.
Oh, damn. Well, I don't even want a walk guy. Who cares?
Yeah.
Here are the 4
Maybe we
players.
need to add that next year.
Here are the 4 players that had more walks than Jonathan India. Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, and Aaron Judge. End of list. Just 4 guys. That's the only people who walked more than he walked. He walked more than guys who are great at walking, like Gunnar Henderson or Bryce Harper or anything else in between. Honestly, what I kind of hope with him too, and this all just comes because, like, by all accounts, he's one of the most competitive people on the planet. That sometimes when you bring in like this fresh blood into a team that's already had a little bit of success, right? They made the postseason, they won a postseason series, they're hungry for more. Is what I also wanted of him is not for just him to physically walk, is that I want him to help the other guys learn it too. Bobby Witt Jr., as dangerous as a hitter as he is, should walk way more. Look at the guys I just listed on this list. Judge, Soto, Shohei, guys, Harper, guys who are dangerous hitters and could do damage to you at any moment. Vlad Guerrero Jr., they all walk more than Bobby Witt Jr. He should walk more than he does. And my hope is that Jonathan Indy becomes like more of a contagious part of this, like, we can all walk. We can all get on base together. And I'm going to guess with more lineup protection, they'll be more careful with Bobby.
It should help. Someone's like, hey, you're only saying 10 to 15 stolen bases on the text line for Jonathan Indy. Yeah, he's never had more than 14. What's the reason for that? I mean, in college, he stole 30 bags. That's just not who he's been in the big leagues. It's just not. Whether it's reads, whether it's overall, I don't know what his speed is or anything like that necessarily. But
he's not a slow player, but he's obviously not like
he's not
going to get a million steals a year for you.
He's never had more than 14. So that's why I said 10 to 15 stolen base range. Look, if he gets more than 14, great. That'd be a career high. That'd be awesome.
That's probably gravy.
I also wonder how aggressive he'll be anyway, knowing that you have Bobby and Vinny right behind you. Like you don't want to get into the business of getting caught stealing when you're trying to get on base, not get on base and then get caught stealing. Defeats the whole purpose of what we just discussed. So.
A lot of times it's like if there's 2 outs and Bobby Witt Jr.'s up, go ahead and take that steal now. We don't mind starting Bobby, Vinny, Salvi the next inning. So if you get caught cool, and maybe Bobby Witt Jr. could knock you in, but that's all just positional. And he's been a leadoff guy, and this is what he's been asked to do. A lot of times you don't steal in front of those guys. I think it'll be fine. And look, they'll have him steal more probably because they won't want him to logjam Bobby. They'll do double steals. It'll be the Royals as an organization, and Bobby in particular, are really focused on stealing third. They think they can steal third more. So like India on second, Bobby on first. That might actually be where you see the India going to third stolen base.
Well, hey, career high in stolen base would be really nice. Would be really nice for Jonathan India. All right, sticking with baseball, I mentioned this in passing that I truly did not know until our fantasy baseball draft last night that there was a opening day, technically, baseball game.
Yeah, the MLB season started this morning.
Yeah, it did in Tokyo. Now, the scene was
like 5
cool.
a.m.
I saw highlights like in Tokyo, it was great.
Oh, it was
they
incredible.
had Shohei Ohtani
They had 2
signs
Japanese
everywhere.
pitchers in this. It's starting for them, and another one starting today or tomorrow.
Yeah, there's 2 games. So it's the Cubs and the Dodgers. Dodgers won today, by the way. I truly had zero clue, guys. I'm not even kidding. I had no clue, and I'm guessing a majority of you listening, until you woke up this morning or saw something late last night, had no clue either. And it's great in Tokyo, right? The reception that they're getting there and the tickets are insane. They have 140 movie theaters that are airing the games in Tokyo. It's incredible. But boy, oh boy, it's March Madness week. You're having a baseball game to start the 2025 season at 5 o'clock our time, 3 a.m. Pacific, when the Dodgers are located, where the Dodgers are located. This is it's stupid. I'm sorry. And this is not about you can't play international games. The NFL's second game of the year is going to be in Brazil.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just
the second.
The first game of the year I didn't even know was existing, and it's at 5 o'clock in the morning. They did this last year too, somewhere. I don't remember what country it was in. They did this somewhere, and we almost had a very similar conversation. It's great from an international perspective, and more Japanese players are in the league. I understand that. But I bet you if we truly got an honest poll of 1,000 people right now, I bet you 10% maybe actually knew there was a baseball game on at 5 o'clock this morning, and Fox didn't even take it seriously. Did you know the broadcasters this morning, Benetti and them, they weren't even in Tokyo. It was a remote broadcast. What a joke.
That's a little more common, unfortunately, in sports, and I kind of hate it. I hate that trend that is the broadcasters watch a TV rather than how much money do you have tied up in this game? No, if you have so much money tied up in this game, just send Benetti and the crew. Like, another few $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 is going to be a drop in the bucket.
How many yen is that, Cody? How many yen?
I don't know the conversion, unfortunately. The only time I look up conversion rates for currency is when I'm watching Squid Game, and I'm like, how many won is that compared to U.S.? I know. I need to know exactly how much these people are playing for just a minute. I knew there was a baseball game. They've been heavily advertising it. You knew that there was going to be a game in Japan.
I knew they were in Tokyo. I thought it was just like spring training stuff.
Yeah. Look, the problem with baseball is that if you want to do these international games, and they do, they very, very, very much want to. Japanese baseball is huge. They have a huge untapped and or potentially tapped market in so many countries because baseball's played baseball and basketball are more played worldwide than the NFL, right? I mean, baseball's played, it's popular in so many countries. Basketball even more so probably in that department. They don't have the space inside their schedule to do it unless they do it at the beginning. So unless you can talk them into reducing games.
They did do one in season and they played in London. And because the time difference wasn't as crazy. And the flight's not as bad for New York, obviously. But that was last year, 2 years ago, right? They played in London.
Like in a baseball season, they play 162 baseball games in about 185 days. If you're going to make them travel to Tokyo, come back, get jet lagged, do the whole thing, you almost can't do it unless you do it. It does, I will admit, even as a baseball fan, and I thought the scene was cool this morning. I watched a little bit of it this morning. Even if the scene is cool, the biggest problem really is that I don't think any casuals are interested in this because of the time difference problem.
5 a.m.
You almost have to make it inconvenient for the country who's hosting it so that at 10 a.m. I can watch it. Like, but that's at midnight. I don't care. You almost have to make it inconvenient, or you have to make it convenient for your normal audience. The problem is that are they trying to attract us to watch this game or to attract Japanese players?
It was very popular. It was very it was a success in Japan.
Yeah.
In that country, ticket prices were nuts. I mentioned they had over 100 movie theaters with the game. I mean, it was
huge.
The talk.
They're not trying to appease us. They don't care that it's on at 5 a.m.
It really was the talk of all of Tokyo. Like not even kidding. Some of the media coverage over there, but. I just think for your sport, though, right, air quotes, America's pastime, that the first game of the year is at 5 a.m., and a lot of people, I swear, did not know this game was even taking place. That's all I'm saying. That's bad.
Do you think, I forgot to look, do you think that they had a lot of bunting up? It's technically opening day, right?
I don't know. Is bunting popular over there?
Well, I mean, we're taking
I don't know.
the American game there.
I don't know if bunting was there or not.
I get it. Like, I understand, like, sometimes it's hard because these sports want to grow and make more money, and it never feels like it's at the convenience of watching them.
So
right? Like, it's never at the convenience of the fan. It's never better for us anytime they do that stuff. But as someone points out on the text line, it really was probably more for Japanese viewers than it was for us. And look, it was cool because they had 2 Japanese starters. That's awesome.
Yep.
Tomorrow, they'll have another Japanese starter, although the other guy is going up against some guy from, like, a 300-person town in Georgia, like the opposite of everyone else. It's just like a funny mix. But they've got the biggest Japanese star in the world.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Ohtani. I mean, Ohtani and then Yamamoto was the pitcher for the Dodgers today. They got the win.
Yeah.
I understand.
They're just trying to grow an audience.
I understand it's huge over there. I just think it's not even just that, hey, how dare you have a game internationally? That's not even what it is. It's the fact that if you're going to have it internationally, you should still find a way for the America's pastime to air at a time for most people to watch it and for a lot of people to know it existed. I understand you're saying there was a ton of advertising. I truly am not kidding. Drew didn't know about it either. Like, I don't think most people
realized it was a regular season game.
There was even a regular season game because they're playing 2 regular season games and then we wait till next Thursday for opening day.
Yeah. They've done it 2 weeks ahead before. So this is even, or like a week and a half ahead. A week doesn't seem crazy early. Like, if you are trying to do this, the only other thing I would say is reduce it, because the only other way to do this is to convince 2 teams to do it right before the All-Star break. And you know how hard it is to convince a player that has to play 6 out of every 7 days. They got to play 13 out of 14 days. They'll have a 22 in a day game stretch in a row in the middle of the season. Be like, oh, by the way, you know that 1 week we give you off from baseball, and half of you don't even get the whole week, Some of you got to go play in the All-Star game or do the other stuff. You know that 1 week we give you in the middle of all of this? We'd also like to fly you out to Tokyo, make you play. It's like, if you're going to convince players and teams and owners to do this, the only time to do it is now. They should, I think, if you and others, and most people aren't aware, make it way more clear this is the first game of the MLB regular season. But I don't know how I don't know how you sell that, I guess, necessarily.
The game was in prime time in Japan, right?
I'm assuming so. Yeah, the time difference, 5 a.m. here. I'm guessing it was probably 7 o'clock their time or something.
So I think the easiest way to do it is put the game on the weekend, have it air in Japan at, I don't know, noon or 3 p.m.
I'm with you.
In Japan, and then at that rate, we at least here, like the F1 race this weekend was in Australia, same sort of time zone as Tokyo.
Yeah, it's midnight in Tokyo right now.
Same sort of time frame as it is in Australia. F1, the race started at midnight or 11 o'clock.
In Australia?
Yeah. No, 11 o'clock
so
here.
It's
3 p.m. there. So start the game at 3 p.m. in Tokyo, and then people in LA can watch it at 9 p.m. at night or 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah,
it's late, but they can at least watch it and feel like they don't have to wake up.
It'd be
in the
way
middle
better
of
to
the
make
night.
it prime time, but again, it's not for the American audience. It's to grow the international.
I understand, but if it's during the weekend, that's why you put it during the weekend.
Yeah.
14-hour difference, 3 a.m. in LA too for the team that was actually in the game. I mean, we're a bad example.
Would you wake up at 3 a.m. for the Royals to play the first game of the season?
We're a bad example because of our job and what we do. If I was not doing sports talk radio, I would not get up at 3 a.m. to watch the first Royals game. I'll just be completely honest with you. I would, because we need to talk about the game
at 10,
5 hours later or whatever, or 8 hours later. But if
Vern pregame at 6 a.m. hits way weirder.
Yeah, weirder. No, I mean in this,
post game,
post. I mean, in this scenario, if the Royals did the exact same thing, Vern's pregame would have been on at 4:00 in the morning, and the game would have ended
at 7.
Would have ended like at 9 a.m. or 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
our time. We'd be reacting to opening day already. Anyway,
Vern would do his post game and be like, "All right, I'm going to hand it off to Cody and Gold." You'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. Bizarre.
What?
Anyway.
This makes any sense.
Up next, let's get to a question Drew asked us in the middle of our contract discussion yesterday about the AOC. And one thing I believe is officially dead around college basketball. I'll tell you what it is next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again, telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside, and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric, because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedules.
You choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
Hi, it's me, your USPS Ground Advantage shipment. Just left the warehouse and hitting the road.
I know. Just got the notification.
Great. Smooth sailing so far. I'm almost there.
Yes, I know. I get all the updates.
Made it. Safe and sound.
I know.
Well, did you know I was with USPS the whole time?
Oh, yeah. I know.
Keep your business in the know with the USPS Ground Advantage service. Visit USPS.com/in-the-know.
When it comes to college basketball and March Mania, nothing's for sure. Bet the unexpected every upset every day with DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings is offering all customers a no-sweat parlay every single day. How does it work? Opt in and place a bet on any parlay. If your bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet. Bet the unexpected with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use promo code 965. That's code 965 to get a no-sweat parlay every single day. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Kansas only. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Eligibility and wagering restrictions apply. Opt in to get one no-sweat bet. No-sweat bonus bet issued in amount of losing qualifying bet. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Maximum reward and qualifying bet criteria vary. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Hey, not to be dramatic, but you should smell this. It smells so good.
Whoa, that's quite the reaction to mixing and matching Gain scents. Let's hear another from Ashley, who mixed Gain products and went,
I'm so excited.
Yes, you are. What about you, Isaiah?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And Emily summed it up like so.
It is just chef's kiss.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Mix, match, more happy with Gain.
T-Mobile Home Internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
I'm rehearsing. There are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile Home Internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
Get T-Mobile Home Internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Additional terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Here is your Game of the Week, presented by Hyundai. With less than a month left in the regular season, Denver is looking to put together a win streak to move their way up in the East. It won't be an easy task, however, as they travel to Houston in a tough matchup that should prepare them for the playoffs. With few games between them and few games left to be played, this game will have a huge impact by the end of the season. At the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event, get deals so right, it almost feels wrong. Now's the best time to get that Hyundai car or SUV you've always wanted. Plus, every new Hyundai comes with America's best warranty and 3 years or 36,000 miles of limited complimentary maintenance. Don't think you can get away with all that? Think again. But don't wait. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event is going on now, so visit your local Hyundai dealer today. It's a great day for a new Hyundai.
What would you do if you could go back in time with the tap of a button?
Watch the ancient Egyptians build the pyramids?
How'd they do it?
Buy enough Bitcoin to purchase your very own private island.
Or maybe just skip the joke that flopped at the holiday party.
Unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to rewind time. But you can rewind live shows with the free Odyssey app.
Never miss your favorite sports talk again. To get started, download Odyssey and search for your station.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Basketball Madness comes to KC for the NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship March 20th through the 25th at Municipal Auditorium. 16 teams, 15 games, and one national champion. Bring the family for nonstop action and affordable tickets. Get yours today at NAIAHoops.com. We'll talk about some college hoops in just a bit, about 8 minutes or so from now. But yesterday when we were having our discussion about Cincinnati and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins get their massive deals, Drew, towards the end of the conversation, posed a question to us, which was, hey, well, who do you actually think are the 5 teams? If you don't think it's Cincinnati, maybe you do, but who are the 5 teams in the NFL we believe are closest right now to winning a Super Bowl, knowing the draft has not happened? So it got us thinking a little bit. We each put together the 5 teams. We'll ask you guys as well, 913-586-7965. I think we all have one team for sure on the list who is closest to winning a Super Bowl again. I believe I can say we all have the Chiefs still as one of the 5, right?
Yeah, I think we could probably just discuss who are the other 4.
Right,
sure.
I think it's pretty obvious. How could you not still say, even if you're skeptical that they're still not one of the 5 closest to winning a championship, they also still have some of the best odds to win the Super Bowl next year anyway. After that is where maybe it gets interesting. I in no particular order, by the way. I guess I also went Eagles. Like, to me, that's a fairly obvious one. They just won one. We've all talked about the roster and how loaded it is right now.
They lost a lot of players, but they've still got a lot of guys on cheap deals. Still got Smith, Saquon.
So I think
Brown,
the Chiefs and Eagles, we all 3 of us have. So really, we're talking about the difference might be 3 teams. I then went with the Buffalo Bills. Okay. I still think while they haven't got over the hump, of course, of beating the Chiefs, 0-4 Josh Allen is. He did just win an MVP. They were actually in the AFC title game, right? And I believe in what was supposed to be a reset year for them, they made it to an AFC title game. And they had some more cap flexibility this offseason. I don't know if I'm all that impressed with what they've done with it to this point in time.
Because, again, there's a limit to how good of a job you could have done.
But it's very clear when you have Josh Allen, you're in the hunt every year. You just are. And I think even if you factor in the NFC, they still would be one of the teams the 5 teams closest to winning a Super Bowl.
I had the Bills too.
Okay.
I was between them and the Ravens. So now you know I don't have the other one, and I'll explain, I guess, why in that moment.
I had the Ravens, by the way, on my list.
Part of the rebuild year is a reason why I didn't end up there, is that I thought the Bills succeeded higher than they should have been expected to do, which means I think that they will be even better positioned again this year. They also, for all the other factors, and we can complain about this all we want, they play in the easiest division out of any team I'm going to mention on this list. They got the clearest path to immediately make the playoffs as a home team, at least in the first round of the playoffs, maybe as a bye.
Sure looks like
all
it.
Those teams still stink. Unless something's going to change
Patriots,
dramatically.
maybe, yeah, but
maybe they get
got
a
a lot
better.
of work to do.
You got to believe Drake May's getting ready to take a huge step. And even still, even if Drake May got him to a 10-win team, it's still the easiest division out of every other team I'm going to mention here. And that's why I ended up with 3 NFC teams too. I just feel like it's more wide open. So Chiefs and Bills are the only 2 AFC teams for me.
Okay, so I had Chiefs, Eagles.
Not the Bengals. Sorry.
I had Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Ravens. You didn't have them, but I did have the Ravens. I still look at Lamar Jackson, what he's doing. I understand there's all these teams have flaws, like in terms of like, hey, they haven't got over the hump. But being close, I still think when you have Lamar Jackson, when you have the roster that they have, they're in that conversation of having, one of the 5 best chances to get there again. And then I had the Rams, man. Matthew Stafford is back. That division, it looks like the Niners are taking a slight step back this year. Seattle's got a brand new quarterback. The Cardinals are just the Cardinals. Like, they're just there, right? Like, they're a pain in the ass, but that's about it. And the Rams, I think, showed last year that they were able to effectively build up a defense again, at least on the defensive line. They need to work on the secondary. But post Aaron Donald, they found their next crop of pass rushers. They need to improve the secondary. No Cooper Kupp. I actually think that's fine. They bring in Devontae Adams to go with Puka.
That's a good fit.
I believe the Rams still would be one of the 5 teams that are closest to winning a Super Bowl next year.
Okay, so my other 2 teams, or 3 teams, were the Eagles, like you had mentioned, that we all agree, the NFC side. Lions and Commanders.
So you still have the Lions.
I was between the Lions and the Rams. And for the obvious reasons you just mentioned, I think Devontae Adams might be a borderline perfect fit to go with Puka Nacua. Stafford, and I mentioned this with Aaron Rodgers, at some point, there is only one quarterback who has successfully played at the age really Stafford is. It's Tom Brady. I haven't seen another quarterback do it at a high level. Stafford took a half step back last year. Look, when he's on, he's still one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league. He's on a little bit less than he used to be. There's some games where it doesn't look so easy anymore, and I still trust McVay. So I was on the fence, but I was like, you know what? The Lions have done this year after year after year. The only thing that would make me think that they're taking a half step back, it's not talent. Still got all the offensive guys, still got all the pieces in place, still got a lot of the defensive players in place. The only thing that would make me kick them off the list instead of the Rams is, do I think a Ben Johnson-less offense takes a huge slide back?
And Aaron Glenn on defense, too.
And Aaron
They
Glenn.
lost both their coordinators.
I'm more worried about Ben Johnson probably than Aaron Glenn, although Aaron Glenn did a phenomenal job. I'll give it to Campbell for now because he's been the head coach in charge this entire time, and he's managed to make it work. So I gave them the edge, and then I put the Commanders because
I thought about it.
Young and high, and there's just all this potential in the world, and I think they got better in free agency, and I think they got better on the offensive line with Laramie Tunsil. So, they just kind of felt like the riser. And I felt like if I'm putting a list together, the 5 best teams positioned to do it, I kind of wanted a riser, in fairness. They're in a tough division, though, I'll say. That's the opposite of the Bills' problem.
They were 2 teams away from me picking having the Commanders on my list. They would be 7th if we were extended out.
Would you have Cincinnati ahead of them?
I would. Okay. Because my concern with the Commanders, I think we've all recognized Jane Daniels is the real deal, not questioning that. But I do wonder about a little bit of the sophomore slump.
Happens.
They were very, very fortunate, even if you talk to people in D.C., very fortunate in the ball bouncing to them, right? And that's something that you can't predict, right? And I think the 4th down stuff, while they'll still be really good at that, they converted at an exceptionally high rate.
Regression to the mean.
So there's just some of that. I'm not saying they're going to be bad. Their schedule's more challenging. They can be just as good of a overall football team, but their win total is going to come back to the pack maybe a little bit. And they're still dealing with Philly in their division. That's why I can't get to putting the Commanders as one of the 5 most likely teams to win the Super Bowl. What about Drew? Do you have the Commanders on your list?
I do. I didn't put the Bengals on this list because
This is stunning.
I would include them, but I wanted to remove them to come up with a list that did not include the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, no, but if you were if you were doing a 5, do you think they're one of the 5 most likely teams to win a Super Bowl?
Part of this was yesterday, Drew. You said, hey, do you think the Bills are better positioned to win a Super Bowl than the Bengals? And I had said yes. And that's kind of what
Oh, well then, yes.
what made me think about this conversation. So since he would be in your list of the 5 teams best position.
Yes, and I would take the Commanders out. I think because Gold said that he would include the Bengals ahead of the Commanders. I think I'd take the Commanders out. But so my 5, I guess, essentially would then be Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Bengals, Rams. Kind of wrestled with the Lions too, but I do think, the point that you made, Cody, last in regards to the coordinators, we don't know exactly how things are going to go when you're dealing with Jared Goff, who had his best years with Ben Johnson. So kind of the same questions that...
He had a pretty great year. He went to Super Bowl with McVay, too. But.
I know, but that also as well. Like, who do you have coming in, to replace that sort of coaching that Jared Goff has had when he's had his most successful seasons? Kind of the same question people had originally with Josh Allen is, hey, Brian Daboll's gone. Is he still going to be good? Of course, Josh Allen still was. We'll see how Jared Goff is. I know that you can trust Matt Stafford, at least when it comes down to it, to deliver in that sort of a moment. Plus, as you said, Gold, I agree with the defensive side of things. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse were 2 outstanding picks on the defensive line. They're going to be right there in the thick of it as well. I think the Ravens, it's weird. So I think Josh Allen gets too much credit, and I think I've said that before on the show just throughout this past season, where I think the Ravens are more built for it just from a collective standpoint, even though they haven't been able to get to the bowl, I guess, in a similar way.
So you have Ravens, no Bills.
Correct.
Interesting.
And I got the Bengals in there as well instead.
That's interesting. So you think Josh Allen is overrated?
Oh, yeah. I think Lamar Jackson's better than him. I think Joe Burrow's better than him. I think Patrick Mahomes is better than him.
Well, yeah. And overrated that's fair because overrated is relative because most people probably think he's the second best quarterback.
We've talked about it before. I do have Josh Allen as the second best quarterback in the league.
He's really good, but I think that, to me, for some of the things that he didn't do in the playoffs, for instance, against the Baltimore, I understand that they won the game, but if you look at what Josh Allen did, he did enough to win the game, but if Lamar would have won that game and he would have had the stat line that Josh Allen did, or the year that Josh Allen did, people would not be as complimentary of Lamar Jackson.
Well, that's a fair point. That is probably a separate convo, though, of just how people unfairly discuss Lamar throughout his entire career, right? That's just a bigger discussion. But
I think it kind of goes back to that and maybe it's hate, whatever you want to call it. But I think that's part of it is Josh Allen could make one outstanding play and have an okay game, but everybody would focus on the one play and say he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And it's like, you're not... this past year,
Josh Allen has been closer twice to Super Bowl. He's been to 2 AFC title games and came up, very, very close. Lamar,
I know,
has only been to 1, right? So,
I just think you have to last year, Lamar Jackson was better than Josh Allen in almost every single category, including passing. But everybody acted like Josh Allen was having one of the best years of his career.
I guess
when
year, why Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow's career stats in the playoffs aren't bonkers. I looked it up. He's got 260 yards a game, less than 2 touchdowns a game, averages about an interception a game.
If you want to go particulars, Josh Allen's never beat Joe Burrow in his career.
No, but you're talking
post.
But Josh Allen makes the playoffs every year, and he gets to go deep into it. Not just an individual
and a better
effort.
defense and a better O-line. It must be nice, Well,
easier division. That is that. I don't think
better
that's
GM maybe at this rate. I don't know.
Better GM, that might be the case. And look, positioning does matter. I'm just asking, because you're right about Josh Allen's game against. I don't disagree with Josh Allen's game against the Ravens. I don't think he looked particularly special in that game, but he found a way to grind out a win, and his career playoff stats are real good.
Yeah.
He has 25 career playoff touchdowns to 4 career interceptions and averages 300 yards a game. He has been a phenomenal playoff performer.
I understand. I think it's maybe just this past year where everybody was riding the coattails of Josh Allen. It seemed like so much where if you look at the total season output of what he did compared to somebody like Lamar Jackson, it wasn't even close who had the better year.
Oh, I thought Lamar.
But everybody disparages Lamar.
We thought the MVP
more.
thing was a joke, right? I think all of us agreed that the All-Pro was Lamar and the MVP should have been Lamar. That part I think is fair. But interesting. So the 5 teams were similar on 3 of them.
Yeah, Eagles, Chiefs, we all agree on.
I would say Commanders are right there on the outside looking in.
That's true. Yeah. The only one I would swap out, you could convince me to take the Ravens out and put the Lions in. That'd be the only one that I would actually I feel like be talked into swapping when it comes to that. All right, let's get to college basketball though, because we know the tournament actually starts tonight. We'll have a couple play-in games, 16 seeds, and then the game I'm excited for, and most people are San Diego State, UNC all the controversy around it. And we'll see, right? There's been, I can't remember what the trend.
It continues to look just horribly bad.
It does. And the trend, of course, there's a lot of times where a team that wins the first 4 game ends up winning their next game. Ole Miss is awaiting the winner of San Diego State and UNC. There's also NIT stuff that starts tonight. And then later on this month, there's this new tournament called The Crown, which I believe is going to kill the NIT. And you're like, well, who cares about both of them? And that's fine. But I'm just saying the NIT used to many, many, many years ago actually have a lot of legitimacy to it. And this year, if you look at the field and then you look at the field of this Crown tournament that's going to be in Las Vegas, you can tell which one is going to eventually overtake the other. The NIT is going to be dead in the next 5 years, if not sooner. The reason for that, teams that want to still play. There's some teams that just don't want to play in any postseason unless it's the NCAA tournament, and I totally get that. Ohio State opted out because the portal is happening at the same time. They need to change that rule to where the transfer portal is not happening during the NCAA tournament, during the NIT.
That's a crazy time to do it.
I'm guessing they're going to adjust that eventually. The reason why the NIT is dead, if you're playing postseason basketball and you weren't good enough to make the NCAA tournament, you're going to at least allow your players to make some money. And that's what the Crown is going to allow, even though it sounds stupid, a tournament name and all this. Like, what tournament? Why does this matter? Well, the winner gets $300,000. You get to the semis, the team gets $50,000. So if you're a UCF, a Boise State, these teams that did not make the tournament, at least you have an opportunity for your players who maybe didn't make a ton of NIL money that year to go in, go have an incentive to go win some money. You win the whole thing. You split $300K across your 12-man roster or whatever it would be. So I think this Crown tournament, and the field is way more impressive for the Crown than it is for the NIT, in my opinion. So I think the NIT, fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think it's dead here in a couple of years.
Died today, huh?
Yep.
Well, today.
It'll be no different than the CBI eventually.
It's kind of messed up when you think about it because the NIT was like the only other postseason tournament I was regularly familiar with. I understand there's like the CBI, and
the CBI you have to pay to get in. That's what's crazy. Yeah. The CBI you pay to get in the tournament. Did you see the terrible situation that happened? The NIT really screwed up. So there was, for whatever reason, confusion back last night or 2 nights ago, I guess it would have been. The NIT invited a team and then had to retract the invitation. So South Alabama got a call from the NCAA inviting them to the NIT at 9:30 on Sunday night because UC Riverside was locked into the CBI. They were told that they were 100% in. South Alabama was. The NCAA calls South Alabama back an hour later, says, "Oh, our bad. We don't have a spot for you." It turns out that UC Riverside was on both the NIT bracket and the CBI bracket. They messed up royally. And so then now they put out some statement apologizing, but this head coach told his team, hey, we just got a call. We're going to the NIT. They're all excited. Go. An hour later, he has to tell his team that.
Oh, sick.
And so I was like, that's messed up. That's messed up. That's a bigger F up than the NCAA selection committee not putting, Indiana in or West Virginia in. You call a team, say you're in, and then have to pull back the invitation. That's a brutal look.
That's no good. And we've all had to pull back an invitation before. It's not a good feeling anyway, but to a postseason college basketball tournament for a program like South Alabama
tells his team already they're in.
Boy, he jumped the gun on that. I bet he won't ever jump the gun on that again. He'll call a team meeting for the next day.
In fairness, though, they told him he was. He asked him, "Are we in?" They're like, "100% you're in, coach." So he goes and tells his team, as he should. And then an hour later, they're like, "Yeah, we messed up. UC Riverside is actually in. We thought they were in the CBI, but they showed up on both graphics. Like the social media accounts for both tournaments had the same team." Whoops.
Man. Oh man, that's brutal. That's absolutely brutal. I'd regret that so much. I mean, here's the truth, though. Do I care that the NIT dies? What the hell do I care? Yeah. Into the fire,
way back when it actually
I'm not
going to
watch the Crown, and I'm not going to watch the NIT.
Yeah.
The NIT for the longest time, the way I always view this tournament is this team who didn't end up at the tournament, they'd be the number 1 seed, and they'd immediately lose their first game because they didn't care. Yep. And some other team who was further down the depth chart, who actually wanted to fight for something towards the end of the season, was eventually crowned NIT champion. I always viewed it as like those teams that felt let down they were in the NCAA tournament, took the invite anyway, immediately lost, and then everyone used that as justification for why they shouldn't be in the tournament, and the rest of us were just like, no, they just don't care about that
That's
anymore.
Why I think the Crown can work, though, because there's the financial incentive for the players, at least, even if you're disappointed, if you're one of the one of these teams.
Yeah, that was cash.
And, the Crown is pretty much all power, with the exception of George Washington and Boise State, I think, is all Power 4 teams. It's all Big 12, Big 10, and ACC. Any Fox TV partner, basically, got wanted to got an invite for this field. But if you're a player, you're like, hey, look, I'm disappointed. We didn't make the NCAA tournament. I could still get a share of $300,000. Yeah, I'll play for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's enough. I'd play for it. Like, if you're a college player, I don't know why you wouldn't do the one. Why didn't the NIT just do a prize pool?
They might eventually. They
Like,
might
I
have
mean,
to.
if you
Well,
wanna-
'cause it's run by the NCAA
And
still.
you better do it. Well, they got $300,000.
But they're cheap. We know that for years they prevented the NIL thing to happen.
Do you want the tournament or not? Just
Well,
create a
they're not-
$500,000 prize pool and outbid.
I mean, the biggest.
It's got better name cachet. Nobody knows what the hell the Crown is yet.
it's brand
People
new,
still
yeah.
know what the NIT is.
Yeah.
Like, you can still outbrand them if you very simply just offer some cash. Honestly, just approve it now. Emergency meeting, 300,000. Like whatever.
Yeah.
So that we don't look worse than this
Overall-
other random tournament. And the other tournament's way too late.
Yeah,
I'm going to be long
That's
gone out of
why
those
a
teams.
lot of teams said they're not. That's why K-State wasn't interested in playing, because if you're a senior, you're not going to play from a Power 5 school, Power 4 school. You're getting ready for the NBA draft. If you have draft talent, the NCAA, all they care about, of course, is the tournament itself. It's their biggest cash cow. They have revenue of more than $900 million of their $1.4 billion they reported last year all came from the men's NCAA tournament. I mean, it accounts for what was it, 90% of their budget, or of their revenue. I'm sorry, from last year.
I mean,
It's everything for them. Which is why people said, like, if they really wanted to say, screw you, NCAA, you're just an event management company for the tournament. We'll have somebody else run the NCAA tournament. We'll just do our own tournament. We don't need to split revenue with you
it's
anymore.
an event management company. Like, this is the whole thing. The NCAA is run. It's corrupt. But it's just like, and the UNC thing only further proves it. But it's just like, they were so late in the draw, Gold. You're probably right. They'll let the NIT die before they do a prize pool. It's a mistake, but that's what'll happen first. Oh, college basketball.
The whole
I'm
controversial.
excited for tonight, though. Like, I'm excited for tonight's
They got a
games.
good game. The UNC game is a big one.
And look, for some of us are sicker than others. Like, I'll watch even the 16 seed because I just like the fact it's the start of the tournament, and even the tournament music and like all of it, the logos on the court, like all of it. Yeah, it's kicking off the tournament. So at 5:30 tonight, I'll watch a little Alabama State and St. Francis, Pennsylvania, or whatever it is.
Yeah, PA.
PA, there you go.
You can put a little juice on it. Just watch.
Alabama State is
Because you know you can't be claiming you have. Please gamble responsibly. You can't possibly know.
No, usually I bet
anything about
totals.
St. Francis.
Usually I'll bet totals in that game. Like, I'll just take a first half under or something.
If you want to bet money line, do Alabama State.
They're 4.5-point favorites, I think. North Carolina's
So I gotta, like,
something like that too. 4.5, 5-point favorites against San Diego
I
State.
think North Carolina's
North
gonna
Carolina's flight got in late. They had some flight trouble.
UNC is the perfect team where, just like Syracuse a few years, however long it was ago,
They were in
they
11,
barely made it in, and they went to the Final Four, the Elite as an 11
VCU
seed.
first four to the Final Four. It's happened.
I'm just saying from like a Power Four perspective of a Power Four team that scraped their way in because of the committee being biased and having a
Then they'll
conflict of
start
interest.
winning.
Exactly. NC
I could
State
see
last
them.
year.
I could see North Carolina beating Ole Miss if they win tonight.
NC
By the
State
way,
last year barely got in, and they made it all the way to the Final Four. It's just how it kind of goes sometimes.
Let's pre-set up this conversation because I already hate. They do this in college football too, so they're going to do it in college basketball.
If they get
if
killed,
they win or lose, it has nothing to do about whether they deserve to be in or not. If they go to the Final Four, they did not deserve to be in. They did not earn their way into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but I won't
if
care
they
about
go
what
to the
people.
Final Four.
I wouldn't care what people think though at that point, though. You know what I mean?
Sure, but like they didn't deserve. Like, well, this is why they deserved it. No. You don't get to use your lazy
Like, I've
rhetoric.
already-
And if they did not deserve to be in the
Yeah.
tournament, they did not deserve to be out of the tournament because of how they perform in this game. They're unrelated.
Yeah, like I told you yesterday, like I'm already, like now, especially now that we're on the Tuesday, I'm already sick of the, like at some point it's like I want to stop here, and like I've seen it from Boise State fans, North Carolina, Indiana fans, West Virginia fans. At some point though, I don't want to hear about it on Thursday. Still, I'm done with it. It happened. It sucks.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not gonna. The story's over. It's done.
It's not gonna ruin your enjoyment.
Governor of West Virginia wasting our time with a press conference, showboating up there, political theater, wasting everybody's time and resources when there's more important. I don't need you holding a press conference acting like something's going to change because the governor says that they got screwed.
I've already
Give me a
told you
break.
my thought on like performative.
It's a joke.
Fix a pothole or something. You know, work for me.
Fix a pothole.
Do some work.
By the way, if you want to join our Cody and Gold Bracket Challenge, if you were in it last year, just go on to CBS Sports and you can make your picks again, fill out your bracket. track it, I should say. Otherwise, Drew sent out some links. I know some of you are not getting them. You can try if you want, 913-586-7965. Drew will send you a link. Otherwise, I think you said they can search Cody and Gold on CBS's bracket challenge.
You can go on the app, and people said they haven't found it on the app. I don't.
Oh.
If you search Cody and Gold,
he's sending you a
should
link.
be able to find it.
A lot of you have joined. Some of you, for whatever reason, your phone's not getting the link. I don't know what to say.
We'll try to send you.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I guess if you want to, you can. If you have Twitter, DM me
We're
there.
working
I
on
can send you the link there too.
Working on a little prize package, something we did last year. We'll work on something for the winner. Up next, though, let's talk more Chiefs football. Some of the remaining unrestricted free agents that are out there. Is anybody left you would want to bring back, and who could be the sleeper of the tournament? We'll tell you who it is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Lose weight every week until you reach your goal at Awaken 180 weight loss. Obviously, I've signed up. I was looking to make a change. Some of this stuff is obvious, right? My foot doesn't act the same if I'm carrying extra weight. I've got to carry my kids around or do these things. Like, I want to be able to feel normal all the time. And thanks to the Awaken 180 at-home program, I'm on my path to do that. You can get a consultation today. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com and see what they can do for you. Today is weigh-in day. I can tell you that I am 17 pounds down total now in the 3 weeks since I had started the Awaken 180 program. I'll send a photo out later today if you want to take a look, and that way you can see what we can do for you. It's no medication, no gym, no calorie counting. They give you the program, you follow it, and then after you reach your goal, you receive free support for life. All those meals up until dinner are included as a part of the program where you know and can expect how to get through your day and how to make sure you lose that weight and meet that weight loss goal. Again, if you're interested, give them a call, 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Spring may not officially be here until March 20th, but at Ryan Lawn & Tree, we've been preparing for spring all winter. This is Larry Ryan. Unlike companies that shut down for the season, our full-time Ryan pros train nonstop, studying the latest science to deliver even better results every year. No one brings more care and expertise to your lawn and landscape than a Ryan Pro in the Clean Rad truck. Ryan Pros are full-time employee owners, many with degrees in horticulture and turf management. If you ever have a question or a special need, you never call an 800 number. You call your Ryan Pro's mobile number and talk to an owner. Get your free lawn InstaQuote online. Just visit ryanlawn.com/spring and get started today. Sign up this month and take 50% off your first lawn application. Our 50% off spring offer is the only one that comes with a Ryan Pro. Visit ryanlawn.com/spring today.
For college basketball this March, through the first 2 rounds of the tournament, bet on the lowest winning seed of the day, and you'll win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. Now, that's an upset you will not be upset about. FanDuel is the best place to bet on the tournament. You can bet on everything from point spreads, money lines, and team totals, and so much more. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download America's #1 sportsbook app today and back your dog of the day, because in March, anything can happen. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live money line wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split evenly among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get help as your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit KSGamblingHelp.com.
I found a fountain of youth down there at QC Kinetics.
That's Henry Hinton, feeling like his young, active self again after treatments at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine.
I still have trouble walking down steps as I get older. I've had 1 treatment so far, and I can already tell a difference in my knee.
And that treatment at QC Kinetics used Henry's own natural healing properties, concentrated and placed right at the source of the pain. So Henry and patients just like him will enjoy long-term relief without surgery or downtime.
My knee is not hurting. I remember I was walking down some steps yesterday and I thought, wow, this is not hurting when I walk down steps. I'm all in on it. I'm all in on QC Kinetics.
It's time to wind back the clock to days without constant joint pain. Start with a call to QC Kinetics today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
There are a ton of ways to kick off your day. Gym grind, endless scroll, or snooze button life. But McDonald's has a deal that levels up your morning above the rest. Now at McDonald's, mix and match your choice of a fluffy sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and sizzly sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. With a deal this fire, there's no better way to upgrade your mornings than with a delicious breakfast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Wait. Skechers put the S in comfort?
Yes, comfort you have to feel to believe. Skechers, we put the S in comfort.
Let me try. Okay, I'm just stepping in and... Oh, wow. Skechers put the S in comfort.
Duh. We told you.
Find Skechers slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person will win the grand prize, a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey and framing, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. Listen to opening day between the Royals and Guardians with Burns on Deck show starting at 2. First pitch with Denny Matthews just after 3. Right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 15 minutes or so. You guys can always interact with us on the Jays Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Video stream is up as well. Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, X, Twitter. You can subscribe. Be sure you do that. Makes it easy so you don't miss our show. You don't miss Fesco and Dusty, and you don't miss The Drive as well. So during the break, I was just looking at some random Twitter post, and real quick before we get to the NFL, the Miami Marlins, we know, are a joke, right? Like, this has been well established.
Yeah, they're a joke of a franchise, correct.
So The Athletic just put out that Major League Baseball informed the Miami Marlins they will not be permitted to go ahead with their plan. That plan was, and this is real, to have random, non-professional people audition for a practice squad that would then go up against their single A team in Jupiter, Florida, when needed. They were going to pay them $150 a day. Baseball said, yeah, you can't do that.
I mean, first, I think that very clearly circumvents some very serious collective bargaining that these
How cheap are they?
But like, are you kidding?
How cheap?
They're out here picking up just dudes off the street, being like, "Want to play ball against some A-ball players?" And we'll pay you $150 a day. Does not seem like enough for one baseball game. Does that include stretching? How long do I gotta be at the facility? Just for the 3 hours of the game, or like what's the scoop?
I don't know. I think it's just for the day.
They might be paying the umpires more for that game.
Yeah, they're cheap.
I gotta play an actual game against your guys. Also, why is it when needed? Don't they have a schedule to play A-ball games like every other A-ball team? What the hell's the problem?
I am confused of like, why they wouldn't have a normal minor league baseball schedule for the A-ball team? I don't know if they're just wanting it for some travel purposes, if there's an issue with weather. I don't know. But the Major League Baseball said, yeah, you can't do that.
Do they just, I guess, were they doing that because they wanted, like, instead of practicing, we want to just play games?
I don't know.
But also, like, doesn't that wear down your pitching? Would an organization actually even want that?
I don't know the full backstory. I made sure. I was like, is this fake? It comes from a writer at 35 years with the Miami Herald, 121,000 followers. It's a real report.
Why not just schedule like the Savannah Bananas to come through town a couple of times, and at least you can make a show of it? They can take on your A-ball unit, Harlem Globetrotter style. Yeah. Oh my God, they're such a joke. They didn't even realize this was against the rules. It's clearly against the rules. You can't just be hiring dudes off the street to play against other professionals. I can't believe you'd want to do this as an organization. You want to open yourself up to
Something
that?
about the Florida baseball teams.
You want Jack Caglione risking getting hit in the head by some 22-year-old who played high school ball who's got a live arm? Like, is that what you want to do?
It's weird, man. So that's not happening with the Marlins. We'll get back to some baseball a little bit later on in the show as we do inch closer and closer to opening day. And don't forget, a week from this Friday as well is our roundtable out at Hollywood Casino. Vern will be hosting that, moderating that, talking to Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell, plus maybe another Royals player could stop by. We'll find that out as we get closer to it. Hollywood Casino next Friday. That'll start at 6 o'clock. Q&A, then a meet and greet afterwards. Also, will be the Sweet 16 will be going on that same Friday night as well. So you're right by the sports book. We can have a good time. Everybody from 96.5 The Fan are going to be out there as well. But let's talk some Chiefs football. We know they've brought him back. I just saw the photo, now officially official, right? Juju Smith-Schuster signed his new contract again. We saw the same thing for Nick Bolton. We've seen the same thing for Kareem Hunt, right? They're bringing everybody back. There are still a few names that are out there that were unrestricted free agents. My question for you guys, would you bring any of these names back? Because they've been willing to bring a bunch of names back. Here's who is still left that were members of the Chiefs a year ago that are available.
Okay.
Charles Omenihu, obviously. TJ Humphries. McCole Hardman. Peyton Hendershot. Mike Pennell. Carson Wentz. They already have 3 quarterbacks, so we can cross that name off. But
Sure.
Jody Fortson and then Marlon Tuipulotu. I'll be honest, I don't know who that is. But those are unrestricted free agents. The only one is the only one other than the name we've discussed multiple times already, Omenihu. If you could convince DJ Humphries just to back up Jalen Moore as a true safety valve, I'm all about that. I just don't know if he's willing to do that, but I would be all about having a veteran behind Jalen Moore just in case he gets hurt, just in case that's a mess. That would just give me a little bit more of a backup plan than what I had a year ago at that position.
So the general consensus is like, if you had done this topic, if we had talked about this 3, 5, 7 days ago, and you had also included Kareem Hunt and Juju Smith-Schuster, I'd have been like, I'm probably fine, right? And that doesn't mean that those are bad signings. We talked about it over the time that they signed those guys. The only guy I'd even kick around on this list is DJ Humphries. As just he'll take 1 year, and he'll be a safety net, and he was a Pro Bowl starting tackle at some point in his life. And because the backup there, he's learning from Trent Williams, like Jalen Moore, or did get to learn from Trent Williams, which is not the worst. Maybe another former, Pro Bowl caliber left tackle behind you to give you tips, push you, make sure you're good enough. I don't really have an issue with that. And because I'll be honest, another chance of maybe finding a long-term solution if for some reason the guy you paid let's say you paid the guy way too much money, but DJ Humphries is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least I got another guy in house I'm evaluating at left tackle, seeing how I got no long-term options. That and Charles Omenihu are the only two I'd even entertain. Defensive line, they need help somewhere. I'm not determined on that.
You know who? It would at this point, it wouldn't surprise me that they just say
Jody Fortson?
That they bring back. No, not. I think the ship has sailed a while ago on our guy Jody Fortson.
He always seems to
Shout
end up
out
back
to
here
our
for
old
whatever
producer
reason.
Nick Short for the T-shirts. McCall Hardman. Are we gonna? I have
again.
I have a
I'm
feeling.
gonna let Jody Fortson back.
I have a feeling. No, I don't. Look, my order of guys out of the list to bring back would be Charles Manahue, then DJ Humphries. I have a feeling it's going to be a month from now, 2 months from now, if he doesn't sign sooner. I'm like, oh, well, you know, what does it hurt to bring him back to camp? You know, McCall Harmon wants to just do it again. Like, it would not surprise me. They've already brought back Juju. Right now, the wide receiver room is Worthy, Rice, Juju, Sky Moore, and Nico Remigio.
I guess as wide receiver 5, wouldn't you rather at this point just see Nico Remigio? Or is that just
I don't know if it really matters, man. And I like Nico Remigio. He had a nice return. Seems like a good dude.
I like him.
He
He's
was
a good
on
special
with,
teams player.
He was on with Fesco and Dusty during the season. Seems like a good dude. That's the is there just shockingly like is there lightning? You know, is it more than lightning in a bottle kind of thing? I get it. I don't know. I just think if you told me they brought back either, I'd be like, fine.
A lot of times the way I guess I evaluate this is like every team's going to lose people pretty consistently over the course of their run. But like I don't view what the Chiefs lost in free agency as like, oh no. How like look, Turk Warden's like it's tough, right? He's a nice player, does a good job for you, but like those are the kind of players teams lose. And now you're giving me the rest of the list. And I'm like, okay, I mean, if not a single one of these players return, are they in trouble? Like, are any of those guys that you've just mentioned, would any of them even, like, compete for a starting spot? Just a Minihue. Everyone else would be, like, tight end 4, defensive lineman 7.
They already signed Robert Tunyon or whatever his name is, too.
He was on the roster at some point last year.
Yeah, I don't think they're bringing in another tight end at this point from a free agent perspective.
Who was it that Hendershot got in a fight with? Didn't he get in like a little
what game was
little
that?
verbal altercation with a Cowboys player or something?
He got fined, I think. The team got fined or he got fined. I'm not sure the backstory on that. I can't remember. I know it happened during the season.
That's the only thing I'll always remember. For the Ravens. He got fined.
So it was week 2 of the season.
He got fined $100,000. Oh, the Chiefs were fined $100,000.
That's why he got cut not too far after that. And then they got brought back.
Yeah, so they didn't.
Someone said McCall Harmon had a visit with the Bears yesterday. Well, the Bears did once sign former Chiefs wide receiver Byron Pringle after he left too.
People were really mad when he left.
Remember when everybody
they were
thought,
convinced.
how dare they let Byron Pringle walk out the door? You know,
it's tough, man. It's always the guys who you don't get to see play much that you're like, I bet he has it.
Oh, that's just the backup quarterback thing too, man. That's you haven't seen the guy fail. That's all that is.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Same happens in baseball all the time. Oh, he was up for a week and he hit 350. He's a future Hall of Famer. No, he had no film on him yet and he hasn't been exposed yet.
Everyone just said, I'll just throw this kid fastballs until he proves otherwise.
Yeah.
And then he hit the fastballs and I'm like, okay, fine. I'll mix in a curve. 0 for 20. It happens pretty consistently in baseball. Baseball's the most interesting one because I don't think this happens as much as football. Baseball, in my opinion, is the overexposure sport. You love the way a guy plays in 90 games. You're like, look at this guy. 90 games. I love when he's in the lineup. Ooh. And like, I can't believe he doesn't play 150 games a year. And if you made that guy play 150 games a year, you'd be exposed quick. They get exposed. 90 games is like the sweet spot of, you're not a 4A player. You're a big league player, but your ass does not belong in the field for 150 games a year. You should be playing 90 to 110, 110 in case of injury. Other than that, you're perfect to just slide in the lineup, play a couple different positions, move on with your life. You should not be playing that. You know, the AAA player of that over the last few years for the Royals is Edward Olivares.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everybody thought, why is he not playing more? Why do you keep sending him back up I-29? What are you doing?
He's better than all these other guys. You're like, is he? But is he?
Every fan base has that guy on their baseball team.
It was expected, but a little NFL news. Brandon Graham, 15 seasons in Philadelphia. So he's the longest tenured Eagle in franchise history. He announced his retirement today from the NFL. Right. Returned from the torn triceps muscle. Remember, he played in the Super Bowl against Kansas City and sadly won it, but that was the final game of his career. Won the Super Bowl, and Brandon Graham's going to hang it up.
There you go.
That's a tough loss for Philly. He's a really good player.
82 career sacks, 2 Super Bowl rings, 24 forced fumbles, 15-year career. Brandon Graham hanging him up.
So just another player. Philadelphia, you remember when I just said I didn't feel like the Chiefs had lost all that much in free agency? I feel the opposite about Philadelphia. They've lost a lot. They've lost all of their depth. They're going to have to draft really well again. Although next year, I guess they'll be in line for 1,700 comp picks or whatever.
Howie Roseman
God knows how
pretty
many
darn
comp
good.
picks they'll have next year. Yeah, he's
pretty darn good at drafting, it turns out. We'll get to the trash of the day in about 5 minutes or so. But let's talk a little tournament, right? NCAA tournament technically begins tonight with some of the play-in games. Our tourney coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views. Do you guys have a sleeper? And I think the sleeper qualifier at this point is it's got to be a team you think makes the Sweet 16, not just like wins the 5-12 game and then loses the next round. Do any of you have
5 or under?
Well, no, I think it can. I think it.
It's got to be like
6. Yeah, 6. I think it has to be like 6 plus to go on a run. I think this year, and I don't know how you guys have felt if you're part of our Cody Gold bracket challenge, because of the nature of college basketball in 2025, where all these big time programs poach mid majors through the transfer portal.
Oh yeah,
I don't think we're going to see as many mid major sleeper, if you will, type of teams going on the runs we've seen in the past, because the mid-majors that had, like, just turns out like really, really talented players, and those guys have usually gotten scooped up. And they don't stay around at the mid-major for 3 years anymore. They're there for like 1 or 2 years, and they transfer out to a big boy program because they got noticed, and they can get a ton of money.
Get way more money.
I mean, there's example after example. I mean, Zeke Mayo's even an example of that on the Kansas end, right? So I guess what I'm saying is I struggled to find a real sleeper. This one, it's from a Power 5 program, Power 4 program, so you're like, that doesn't qualify, but based on seeding, it does. In my bracket, I have 6 seed BYU going to the Elite Eight.
That counts.
Yeah.
You like them because they can score.
Absolutely.
I mean, if there's a single reason why to be like, they're not going to get stuck in some slog of a game like Virginia and lose 40 to 40.
People are predicting them to lose in the first game to VCU because VCU's gonna harass them, right? I'm not buying it. So I have BYU, and then I believe they'll play Wisconsin, and I think Wisconsin, that's not a good matchup for Wisconsin. So I have BYU, then ultimately losing to Duke in the Elite Eight.
So if it was 5 or above, my answer was going to be Oregon, a team that I believe can make an Elite Eight run this year. But if it's above that, like if it's 6 or above, the team I'm really buying into, the more and more I watch them, is Marquette.
Okay.
Shaka Smart is a tournament-proven guy in the NCAA tournament. He's right in that 7-10 matchup. So the problem becomes you're going to have to beat a 2 seed. Like you just are. You're going to have to be one of those teams to do it, and that's going to be a challenge for you.
Cam Jones, one of the best players in the country.
But for whatever reason, the way he works better in the NCAA tournament, and he works better in a mid-major than he does at like the big power programs. And so the way I watch them, they won their conference. They got a huge score. I know because I was looking it up earlier.
Cam Jones.
Like Cam Jones can put up 20 a game. You kind of like, I always feel like the mid-majors who go on that like Sweet 16 Elite 8 run, beat a 2 seed, they got a guy who can just put up buckets. Like they got one guy who can take, the Steph Curry Dayton problem, right?
Yeah, it's funny.
They got one guy who
kidding.
can just score.
I'm not even kidding. I have New Mexico winning that opening round game against
You can
Marquette.
still change it if I talk you into it.
No,
not too late.
Oh, now I'm definitely not changing it. now I'm definitely not changing it.
Now that I said Marquette's my squad.
I'm going to keep it. No, I agree with your points, though. It makes sense. I would say the Mountain West.
I started doing my research yesterday and tonight.
The Mountain West typically doesn't fare well in the NCAA tournament unless you're San Diego State, so I get people being skeptical on them. I do have New Mexico winning that game. You mentioned, hey, having a dude that can go score. New Mexico does. His name's Dent. His last name is Dent. He can go out and score. I think New Mexico will give Marquette some fits, but that's just one of my upsets that I have. What about you, Drew? Do you have a sleeper?
I mean, if we're going 6 seed,
6 or above,
I think Louisville's an easy pick. To potentially make a run. I know they got to
play. Get past Auburn?
I know they got to play Auburn. I mean,
or past Creighton.
Louisville. I mean, very fair point. Louisville very similar to that of Auburn in the fact that they put up points, they score. They got 5 players that average double figures. Terrence Edwards Jr. transferred from JMU, and then Chucky Hepburn, my Wisconsin guy, transferring over to Louisville. It's crazy. Louisville yesterday, the final AP poll came out. They were 10th in the AP poll. They are an 8 seed in the tournament. It is nuts.
The polls don't matter. We don't need to revisit that. But
no, I understand. But no, they've been a top 10 team all year. And you look at other teams that are in the top 10, they were a 3 seed or better. Every single one of them. Louisville made the ACC final.
Yeah.
Of course, losing to Duke. So I think they're a team to watch where we talk as much about Auburn getting hosed as well. Louisville getting a little bit of a bad break having to go against Auburn. But I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to make a run. If I had to go with a mid-major school, I think VCU is a popular pick, but I don't know if I buy it too much as McNeese with Will Wade and what he's done. If they can get by Clemson,
I have them beating Clemson.
I think they could beat Purdue. I think they could go up against Houston, and then who knows what happens there. But I think they could definitely make the Sweet 16.
I guess we can wait till Thursday to actually give our Final Four and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
But we've told you a couple of our teams maybe we think already that are going to get upset and everything. You guys can join our Cody and Gold Bracket Challenge up on CBS Sports. Search Cody and Gold or just text in 913-586-7965. Drew will try to send you a link. I know some people haven't been able to get those, but if you want to join, submit your bracket. You're going to submit a bracket anyway. You might as well submit the same bracket into our Cody and Gold bracket pool. We'll have a prize pack or something for you guys, the winner, I should say, as well. But let's get to the trash.
Trash of the day.
All right, this one's overseas. This goes to Australia. Just the whole circumstance around this. Like, a lot of things had to happen to get to this weird, disgusting point. So, there was a woman who was employed at a animal shelter. She was a ranger there. She was looking after some dogs, right? Okay. 2 dogs vomit while she's looking after them. What they vomited up were toes, human toes. Turns out the dogs had to be surrendered to the shelter after the unfortunate death of their owner. Okay. The man died of natural causes before his pets had eaten parts of his body. Okay, that's the first crazy, gross part. So, dogs eat the toes of the human, their owner. Dogs go to shelter. Dogs get sick. Dogs throw up toes. You think that's the end of the story. Like, wow, that's pretty wild. Huh. It gets crazier. That woman that was working at the animal shelter, she sees the toes get regurgitated. She then tries to sell the human toes.
To who? Who's buying human toes regurgitated by a dog?
She tried to sell human toes on an online black market after the dogs regurgitated them. She has avoided jail time by the barest of possible margins. She was sentenced to an 18-month community corrections order, 150 hours of community work. Quote, your conduct would, in my view, arouse significant anger, resentment, outrage, disgust, or repulsion in the minds of any reasonable person in the community. The police prosecutor said she was not present when the dogs regurgitated the remains, but searched a wheelie bin looking for the toes. Later, during a phone call with her daughter, she discussed how she planned to sell the toes online. Research suggests that she could get as much as $400 for the toes.
Research?
Just awful.
Research on black market regurgitated toes?
She was
also... That is quite the mother-daughter relationship. You are comfortable enough with your daughter that you're talking about selling severed human toes?
I'm just saying everything that had to happen here. The owner,
my mom and I were not that close.
The owner unfortunately had to die. The dogs had to eat the human's toes. The dog then had to throw up the toes, and then she sold it. Yeah.
By the way, how is that ever? Get therapy. If your initial thought upon working at a vet and a dog throws up human toes, if your initial thought is, wonder if I could sell those. Not, oh, God, no. Oh, God, please, no more of this. I don't know how to help you. You might be sick.
And it sounds right. On the text line, just for $400, it'd be like it's disgusting either way. But if it was $100,000, you'd be like, well, the temptation, I guess. $400.
Honestly, they should set up a thing. Anybody who buys that $400 toe, that person's definitely guilty of some crime.
They found out a little bit more research.
Definitely guilty of some crime.
Here's a little bit more. She showed police when they went to her home where the jar with the toes were located. Besides other oddities, including an alligator claw, a bird skull, a guinea pig trotter, and her children's teeth she had kept.
Oh, my God.
She was a member of the Bone Buddies Australia Facebook group, commonly used to buy, swap, and sell specimens online. She was an avid contributor to the site, had previously sold, quote, this is gross, wet specimens of kitten and puppy stillborns.
You're going to make me
This woman is
I'm over cringing.
wacko. Yeah.
I mean, are we sure? Oh, no.
Are we? Yeah. Someone said she's like Hannibal Lecter over here.
Investigate this whole group.
Yeah.
If you're buying wet specimen of stillborn puppies, you need a lot of therapy. Not
disgusting.
some.
We don't need to say wet specimen anymore. We're done with that. I'm over here.
You don't want to hear that sentence
ever
again?
Getting chills over here. Relax.
Someone says, why are you talking about this during lunch? Well, it's the trash of the day. Apologies. Sometimes they're more graphic than others.
Over on Twitch, they want us to talk about Tracy Morgan. Did you see him puking at
courtside?
Courtside.
Just puked all over the court.
Well, no, and did you see what happened after? He got wheelchaired off the floor. His nose was also bleeding. Like, I don't know if they got taken to the hospital. I have no idea.
It caused a significant delay in the game.
But he got wheelchaired off the floor.
He didn't throw up toes or anything, did he? Just normal throw up?
Yeah, that's
gotcha.
Somebody took a picture mid.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
Yeah, that was. It didn't look like any other.
Had to delay the game. Got to clean that throw up.
He said it was food poisoning. He said, "Thank you all for the concern."
Well, it happens, you know.
I'm doing okay, and the doctor said it was
Okay.
food poisoning.
That's
Appreciate
good.
them
Did he
for
say
taking
what kind of
such great
food?
care of me.
I would like
he
to
did not
know.
say.
I would like to know.
I mean, ideally, not something he got at Madison Square
That's what I'm
Garden.
saying. I would
You
like
know?
to know what the food was. Was it some bad chicken? What was it?
I mean, food poisoning can happen in any kind of food.
Right.
Hard to say. He did not specify which food item he believes it caused the incident.
That's the trash of the day. Although someone on the text line, real quick, did say, Drew, you'll love this. Their sister-in-law had a toe removed once. Had to have it removed. They allowed her to keep it. She still has it.
What?
If you had your toe amputated, you're keeping your toe? No chance. What am I going to do? Display my toe? What?
I think you have to put it in like resin or something. You
That's
got to find a way
weird,
to
though.
preserve it.
Oh, here's my toe.
Then he kept the.
But what are you
Oh,
preserving?
he kept a piece of metal. That's way different.
What are you preserving it for, though, Cody?
Nostalgia? I had it my whole life.
Look, the only way, there's no example. I'm like, I'm trying to think of what it would be. If you were an athlete and it was like the toe that you scored a goal with. I don't know, like in the World Cup. I'm trying to think of what ridiculous
Perfect
scenario.
example is Deion Sanders. If we ever get Deion Sanders on the show,
does he have any toes left in that one foot? Haven't they amputated a lot of them?
I know, but if we ever get Deion Sanders on the show,
You want to ask him? That's the first question out of everything we could talk about.
I will not ask him. But
Did you keep the toes?
For you,
Hey,
Cody,
Deion,
to say it's nostalgia, I think it should be asked.
Coach, great to have you on the show. We've been trying to get you on for a while. We can get to your program in a bit, but important question right out of the gate. We know you've had some toes amputated. Do you by chance have any of those toes still? What do you think would he hang up? Would he laugh?
Yes.
Would he say, you're out of your damn mind? That's a question he's probably never been asked at a press conference. Maybe next year when Colorado plays KU or something, although that game might be in Colorado next year. We'll get that question in, Drew. We'll send you out there. Why don't we'll get you on the scene. You can ask the question.
No.
Yeah.
I will not be the one to ask that question.
All right. Up next, we'll get to the Chiefs red half hour. We'll talk about one player that you do not want back with the Chiefs next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedules.
You choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
Don Sharp and the Sharp Homes team take a unique approach that transforms the typical home selling experience from a mundane process of list and hope into a seamless transaction. Dawn is so confident in her ability to sell your home that she guarantees it will be sold. If your home does not sell by the agreed-upon date, she'll personally buy it. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Heartland Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellkc.com.
GimmeTheVin.com's big cash giveaway. I hate games and scams. So when we had the idea to give away $25,000, I was very careful about the way it was orchestrated. Get the top of the market money and enter to be the lucky person to get $25,000 this month in March. This is no joke. This is no game. This is very real. Just like GiveMeTheVin.com.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
The last thing I want to do this March is get off the couch during the tournament to get food. So I'm letting Hy-Vee come to me. Hy-Vee makes it so easy. With their aisles online, I can order my groceries right from my phone and never miss a play. Just download the app or go to Hy-Vee.com and choose your store and select your items. Hy-Vee does all the shopping for me. All I have to do is pick up my order or have it delivered to my home. Save time, save money, and see every buzzer beater. What could be better? Only at Hy-Vee.
3, 2, 1. It's mid-March. Time to pick your bracket, stock the fridge, and get ready for the dance. The Hy-Vee Market Grill is ready too, with smoking hot deals on your barbecue favorites. It's a slam dunk when you serve pulled pork sliders 2 for $3, a full slab of St. Louis style ribs just $12.99, and boneless chicken wings just $6.99 a pound. Add Hy-Vee coleslaw and potato salad for a buzzer-beating finish. Don't miss the Hy-Vee Market Grill Smokeout Thursday through Sunday at your Kansas City area Hy-Vee.
Kick off the Royals season with 96.5 The Fan at Hollywood Casino. Join us for an exclusive 96.5 The Fan roundtable featuring Michael Massey, Josh Vernier, and other special guests on March 28th at 6 p.m. Don't miss your chance to get insider insights before the season begins.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Spring forward with real unlimited data from Straight Talk this tax season and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. So you can stream games during Mad March hours, check the weather for April showers, and watch gardening videos about May flowers. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 4/15/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires purchase of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Brought to you by Urban Air.
Urban Air is where fun takes flight. With our awesome attractions, it's always an adventure. Visit urbanair.com today to find your local park and book your tickets, membership, or birthday. Urban Air, let them fly. Attractions vary by park.
Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Also, remember in the 1 o'clock hour today, Nate Taylor going to join us, talk plenty of Chiefs football with him throughout the 1 o'clock hour today. It'll be good to catch up with Nate. Last time we saw Nate was out at Kelly's a couple Fridays ago, so it'll be good to check in.
Great time,
with him. Coming up
Him and
a
the whole
little bit
fam.
later on in the show. We were discussing earlier this hour, hey, these are the unrestricted free agents. The Chiefs have brought back a lot. Who would you want them to bring back? What about a Chiefs player from a couple years ago? Social media wants a certain Chiefs player from 2 seasons ago back in a Chiefs uniform. I'm talking about Willie Gay Jr.
Don't do it. Guys, every person whose name you recognize who once played for the Chiefs is not the person who needs to be back in Kansas City. And I want to be very clear. 2 weeks ago, before they signed Nick Bolton, Matt Verderame had brought up the possibility of signing Willie Gay as a Nick Bolton replacement, and I like the idea. For the same reasons that Nick Bolton got $15 million a year, and I know that it's less than that technically on paper, and like it's all funny money, whatever, but Willie Gay would have been available for like $3 million maybe, hypothetically. A lot of this is happening via social media. Chiefs fans are talking about one Willie Gay back, and Willie Gay is responding to those people on social media, probably because he enjoyed his time here in Kansas City. This is not about the person. It is about the personnel. Once Nick Bolton came back, there's no need for Willie Gay anymore. It is a draft a young linebacker, get somebody in who can play Chanel Moore. Nick Bolton is still here. Drew Tranquill's still here kind of offense or kind of defense. We're no longer in the Willie Gay business. You don't have to do this to yourself.
You don't need it.
Every time there's a free agent available who once played for this team, and this, again, not about the person.
Yeah.
It's just not a fit anymore is really what I'm telling you.
You don't need that piece anymore, like to this defense once Nick Bolton was back, and then just the way the linebacking core looks. You know, if you had somebody that was trying to come back from an injury and you were skeptical about, you know, Drew Tranquill's recovery or Leo Chanel's recovery, or of course if Nick Bolton wasn't back, then yeah, why not? You know, you draft somebody and you want to have a veteran insurance policy. I just think at this point, draft a linebacker in the 4th or 5th round, have some more depth, and build it off of that versus bringing back Willie Gay Jr. And yeah, he was a fan favorite. He still is. The energy he brought on the sideline, all of that is legit. I get why he would want to come back. He never wanted to leave. It just didn't work out. But I don't get it. It would truly just be you saying you want him back because you just miss having the guy around, basically, at this point. That's all it would be.
Yeah, look, it's not a full-blown charity case. I'm sure he still has some good snaps in him somewhere, but it's just, where would you use him? Linebacker 4?
Yeah, does he want that? Does he want to be that guy? Just a special teams player?
And at that point, it's like, I'm not sure he's as valuable. I think with players some players need reps too in order for like their athleticism to display. If you put them in limited roles, sometimes they get beat on those few times they get there. Look, the one argument I'll make for it, even though I wouldn't do it, is they still have some limited abilities in pass coverage. But it's not.
Yeah, but who are they taking off the field, though?
Yeah,
they're not willing to do that usually.
No, and we weren't raving about Willie Gay in pass coverage when he was here either. He was better. He was better than Bolton. We mentioned those things. But we weren't like over the moon, wow, this guy to guard anybody who comes out of the backfield. I just think that that's the nature of the NFL. I think sometimes you think you're isolated. And you're like, the Chiefs are the only team in the NFL who have a difficult time guarding backs and tight ends with their linebackers. And I'm going to just tell you now, that's not the case. Part of the reason the Chiefs have a harder time than about half the league, I think, the other half struggles just as much as them, is that everyone else continues to slide to hybrid players, to guys who play linebacker, who are just like big-ass safeties or small linebackers, and the Chiefs are still running a middle linebacker in Nick Bolton. That's why I thought his market was a little more limited.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't get it. I mean, I just wouldn't bring back Willie Gay.
A couple of people say, hey, isn't Willie Gay a better coverage linebacker than most of our linebackers in Kansas City? Yeah, I think the answer to that is probably true, but they have they have Drew Tranquill under contract, Nick Bolton under a brand new extension, and Leo Chanel still on his rookie deal. It's like they've made the decision that they feel good about their linebacking core. And if you're like, if you're saying it's not good enough, that's fine, but they're not taking Drew Tranquill off the field enough.
Isn't that why we talked about them drafting a guy in like the 4th round, like a Danny Stutzler or whoever it is? Yeah,
he's not going to get on the field very often or at all is the issue. So you're gonna pay even it won't even be a vet minimum deal. It'll be a little bit more than that. But you're gonna pay him to be a special teams player. Does he want that role?
I don't know.
Why does it make any sense?
That would, like,
I don't think so.
But the Saints don't want to. And this is this goes to a point you make sometimes. Okay, so the Chiefs have options to bring players back all the time. They love bringing back players. Hell,
someone says he's better than Tranquil. One, I disagree. I disagree, but also he's under contract. Yeah, so they're not going to bench Drew Tranquil by signing Willie Gay off the street today.
They chose to let Willie Gay walk and then sign Drew Tranquil. So they made a decision. But part of this is he only got a couple years in New Orleans, and they didn't want him anymore either, right? Do you hear the rumors New Orleans Saints are bringing him? No, they went out and looked at some other linebackers. It might just be that he's a limited player now, and it doesn't really fit the scheme. I think a lot of it is just you like the person, you liked what you saw, you're tired of the Chiefs team, because you and I agree, offense and defense, one of the most frustrating parts about the Chiefs right now is how they look speed-wise, offense or defense. And so you're I remember Willie Gay was a faster linebacker. So why don't we get that in? I'm just saying you should get that in the third or fourth round. I'm not saying don't add to your linebacker core. I'm just saying you don't need to do it with 20. What is he now? What do you think? 28-year-old Willie Gay? I don't know how old he is now.
This is also the last.
I guess my argument, it's not even about Willie Gay's abilities as much as people are arguing that they should just not have Drew Tranquil on the field. He's under contract. Drew Tranquil's not going anywhere.
This is the last year of his contract extension, correct?
I think so.
Is it the last one?
Willie Gay is 27 years old. He's still very young.
That's why you draft the guy.
Yeah.
Just in case. And that's something that the Chiefs have done throughout multiple positions as well, guys, as we've seen, with corner or with Jaden Hicks being safety. They look ahead more often than not. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did take a linebacker in that third or fourth round. It's you know what? This is the guy that, say we don't want Drew Tranquil, we're drafting ahead to stay ahead of the curve. Or
you always need linebacker
whatever the
depth.
case is.
You always need linebacker depth. I just don't think Willie Gay is the player you sign for the depth when you can just draft. That's all.
Drew Tranquil has 2 years left on his deal, but next year he is the easiest cut candidate on the planet if you want him to be. He'll be an $8.5 million cap hit this year. He would actually cost more money to be a dead cap hit. He would actually cost you an additional $2 million if you wanted to walk on him, which doesn't make any sense.
What happened
next
to
year? I think Tranquil.
How did things
because they lost the Super Bowl.
How did things
They've
shift
just decided
so
all these
quickly?
players stink, even though they went 15 and 2, went to the Super Bowl. They just think all the players who are a struggle stink now.
A year ago, everybody loved Drake. Again, I say it's such a small I'm reading the text line, so I'm not even saying it's a majority opinion, but we've gotten multiple texts about this. Drew Tranquil, a year ago, everybody loved. Everybody's what a unbelievable signing. Thank goodness they brought him back. And then now we've got people acting like he's not any good and they want the guy that they cut to sign Drew Tranquil back. I don't get it. And you might be right, Cody. It might just be they had a bad game or two, so they must suck at this point.
As you guys said, the direct replacement for Willie Gay, they want them to cut so they can bring Willie Gay back after. And Drew Tranquil, to your guys' point, somebody mentioned it as well, Tranquil's a tackling machine. There are so many times where he might not be as fast as Willie Gay, but if he is within distance of tackling, he does not miss very many tackles out. He is a sure tackler if there's anything at the linebacker spot, and that's obviously something that is very important considering out in space, you do the screens, anything like that, being able to cover distance and bring guys down before they get a big gain.
And I don't want to confuse it. Look, if the Chiefs tomorrow announce they re-sign Willie Gay, I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh my gosh, what a horrific decision!"
It's a 1-year deal for $3 million. This goes to the Juju thing.
I don't get the clamoring they need to bring him in and he needs to play over Drew Tranquil. That's what I'm arguing against. But overall, it would not be the end of the world. It's probably not a necessity at this point in time. And I definitely disagree with the notion that he should just step in and become a starting linebacker again for this team.
No, not
a year ago, they said he wasn't good enough in their opinion to be the starting linebacker.
A lot of this comes down to, and we're talking about, how they're going to spend their draft picks, right? Where, we know that they could draft offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, wide receiver, corner, running back. Okay, so there aren't enough picks realistically for all the positions where we think they could kind of get an immediate contribution. So if you sign Gay, can you just take linebacker off your list for this draft? Yeah, I guess. But you're only solving, and I don't know that it's on the list now, and you're pushing that problem down the road only 1 year. You're not really looking for long-term solutions. Not that every season has to be about long-term solutions. The way the Chiefs have been setting all this up anyway, and I've told you this, if they sign one defensive lineman, like if today Charles Omenihu comes back to the Chiefs, I mentioned him because he's one of the few names I know left on the open market that would play starter level snaps, not a Tillery level player who's a rotational defensive lineman. If they sign Charles Omenihu today, then there are no positions left that I think they are force obligated to take with those 4 picks in the top 100. Maybe they don't get a wide receiver. Maybe they don't get a corner. Maybe they don't get a defensive tackle. Maybe defensive line in the force 4 no matter what. but they have more flexibility. I feel like they're setting up their draft because they want to do best player available. But if they don't sign a defensive lineman, then all they're doing is setting up their draft to be like, what if we took 3 defensive linemen in the first 3 picks? Does it start feeling that way for you at some point if they just take nobody else on the D-line?
Yeah, they're not, to me, on a clear, just only best player available until they make a move in free agency, if they make one at all on the defensive line. So I think we're in lockstep on this, where it's like, yeah, they're in a position where they typically can take best player available, but I don't know right this second if you told me they don't make another single signing heading into round 1, pick 31, if they don't trade out of the first round, I would probably prioritize defensive line, because that's an area that I think is one of the few they have not addressed. They've addressed, doesn't mean you like the plan. Again, difference. They addressed left tackle. They've addressed, I think, the guard, what they're going to do. We think
they've done something there. Wide
they've
receiver.
addressed corner. They've addressed wide receiver. You may not like the plan. They are not done. They need to do in the draft, sure. But from an actual need, the only area where you could flat out say they really have not addressed that is glaring is the defensive line. Tillery's the Derek Nottie replacement. That's all that is, in my opinion. So I'm kind of with you. It's not that I think Jalen Moore at left tackle is just, good to go now, never have to worry about it. But he was the best available option. For this year, he's going to be the left tackle. We'll find out if it works. But to say they didn't address left tackle would not be accurate. That's why they don't have to draft one in the first round. I still think they're going to spend one of their first 3 picks, three round picks. They have 2 third-round picks, but one of their 4 top 100. I think they'll still spend one of those on a left tackle or a tackle, because Jawan Taylor will be gone next year, so they need to have somebody else, whether it's Wanye in the future, in the mix.
So I'm curious, out of the guys that are like free agents who are left, going back to the previous conversation with Chiefs unrestricted ones, as well as just this conversation in general with Willie Gay or whoever, because the Chiefs have signed like Kareem Hunt and Juju before the draft, and we could argue that they didn't need to make the moves when they did. Do you think they actually get anyone else in before the draft, or do you wait until afterwards? Because I don't know if Willie Gay is going to be signed by anybody by the time the draft hits anyways, or...
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Charles Omenihu at this
point...
But
I didn't think that necessarily about Hunt or Juju. They got signed,
Sure, yeah.
If you like the player and they're cheap...
which is where we're getting to now with... I mean, Azeez Ojulari got a year for $4 million, and that's it. So, going back to that Charles Omenihu conversation, I don't think he should be
still out there. We're in wave,
that or maybe
we're like
less.
in the 5th or 6th wave of free agency at this point.
How bad are the offers?
Because Ojulari had, 6.5... I think I saw 6.5 sacks last year for the Giants. I don't know how many Charles had. Obviously, Charles isn't an outside linebacker / edge rusher. I mean, he is an edge rusher. He
can play inside and out.
We're a little away from the NFL draft, and so we'll...
a little over a month away, yeah.
And so we'll get to, continue to do these things. I'm sure, more mock draft sounders will show up, and people will keep predicting it. If we handicapped it right now, defensive line would be the most likely first-round pick. We agree?
Yes.
Second most likely is
it's all over the place.
I'd be fast. I know, and maybe we can do it tomorrow. I think we would all maybe give a different answer if I said top 3, but 1 is defensive line, because we'd all agree that 1 is defensive line. I did see the stat from Adam Schefter that fascinated me the other day, which was he had said yesterday, there had been no trades involving first-round picks in the 2025 NFL draft so far. It is the closest to the start of the NFL draft in which there have been no trades of that since 1993. 5 days before that draft is when the Chiefs traded a first-round pick to the 49ers for Joe Montana. So this is the latest, and there's still
why? You know why it's the latest, right? I think it tells us everything we need to know about the quarterback draft class.
Because there's no quarterback.
That's when you're normally
they don't like Shadur. They don't like Cam. This might make for a way more trade-happy first round in the NFL draft come April. Could make it way more fascinating.
There will obviously be first-round trades, but the fact that there has not been one yet, I think absolutely tells us it's all about a quarterback draft class, in my opinion. Is it just Ward and Sanders? Is it because they don't like the rest? Is it because they're not sold in general? I guess some of it, if you look at in the past, first-round pick, we don't really have, first-round pick trades for players don't really happen all that often anymore in the league. So
that's actually just reduced as a general number. Yeah, people aren't willing to give first-round picks for just random. Trey Hendrickson probably won't get a first-round pick, even though he had 17 sacks.
It seems like he's going to end up re-signing there now anyway. But
yeah, I don't think he would garner one.
There's a very few select players that would actually garner a first-round pick anyway.
Starting quarterback?
We're talking about, we're talking. Not even every starting quarterback.
With Stafford, how far up the list would you have to go for you'd get a first-round pick? Would Stafford constitute a first.
Yeah, I think
the lowest I think I'm willing to go.
Yeah. I mean, and then the obvious names, right?
Burrow, Allen, Lamar.
Multiple first-round picks for those guys. But
Does Herbert generate a
late first round, I think so.
He's young enough, yes.
I think
Herbert
you could go
still.
like eight I think you go 8 quarterbacks deep, maybe. That would get a first round.
Yeah, maybe you could. Yeah, maybe you stretch it to 10. That would actually get a first round pick because we are still talking about a quarterback. But otherwise, in other positions, you got to be like top 3, top 4 at your position. Like wide receiver, you can't be the 10th best wide receiver.
You're going to be Justin Jefferson.
Hey, look at the Tyreek Hill. Look at the Tyreek Hill trade a couple years ago.
For that,
the Chiefs got multiple picks. It wasn't like they didn't get multiple first round picks for it. They got the one that was able to help them get Trent McDuffie, they got the one.
But you got to be top 3 at your position, pretty much.
Like obviously, Justin Jefferson,
still young,
and,
not just top 3, young, under 30.
Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and those guys, of course, would go for first round picks, plural.
You're right. I think there's only a few. Like I don't know if CeeDee Lamb, does CeeDee Lamb go for a first? I don't know if CeeDee Lamb
not a top 5 first, but probably a first. I see.
He didn't go for first the last time he got traded, did he?
No, CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, okay.
CeeDee Lamb hadn't been traded. But if CeeDee Lamb, he would get a late first. I think you get a late first for him. But the player, we've discussed that. So that stat with Schefter, though, that just, I think, tells us more about the quarterback
class.
We
expect one? Is anybody going to jump up and get Cam Ward or Shadur sometime in the next? Because that's really what we're asking the question of before the draft is. No one's going to trade before the draft. No one's getting up to number 9 unless they're they're not making that deal now. That's draft night. If they're trading up for Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders, they're trading up for 1 or 2 or 3. I actually think we might not get a trade before the draft because I mean, unless the Titans just really aren't going to take a quarterback, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. But
because you could guarantee yourself if you trade all the way up to 1, then of course you guarantee there's no other factors at that point in play. You guarantee that you're getting the guy you want if you get up to 1. So that would be the only. That'd be the only one. Someone says, what did A.J. Brown go for with the Titans? The Titans got fleeced in that trade still. But I don't remember the exact compensation. But at the time, A.J. Brown was viewed as, and he still is.
I think it was a first-round pick, and then they took Treylon Burks or something. The number 18 overall pick.
They used it for Treylon Burks, who was running special teams
what
reps last year.
What a disaster for Tennessee. You wonder why Tennessee's
Trading
GM
away A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks. Ooh, pretty much straight up.
They're already on their second GM removed from that trade, too, in Tennessee, I believe. I don't believe. I think
that was the beginning of the end because then Tannehill left, and it's been
they're on their second head coach and third GM since the A.J. Brown trade, if I'm correct on the GM cycle.
That's crazy. Which makes you think they should draft the quarterback, I guess, in that case. Like, hey, can we find it? Even if Cam Ward isn't the guy that gives you, even if he's Derek Carr, at least he provides some sustainability where we can at least try to, stick this thing out a little bit longer than reset every year.
In that division, I know C.J. Stroud is there, but in the way Trevor Lawrence is in that division, you don't have to have a top 5, top 10 quarterback to have a chance to win that division. You really don't.
No, 14th best would be fine, just as long as you can play some defense.
Because look at what is Trevor Lawrence right now
in the league.
If we're being honest,
I like Trevor Lawrence, so I probably have him a little bit higher.
The upside is still there, but he's playing like the 20th best. He's better than that, but I think we would all agree.
I would say he's top 15.
He's probably like the 12th best quarterback.
I think he's not to 20.
He's not playing that as the 12th best quarterback as of last season, though. But I just think there's still the upside.
This is like the opposite of what Drew said. I was never a big Trevor Lawrence believer, so it's easy for me to be like,
absolutely not.
Don't think so.
For sure.
But if you, Drew, were like, I was a Trevor Lawrence believer, you're like, no, it's still there. And almost every single NFL analyst still is in love with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, all the tools are there. All the tools, physical traits are there.
Finally, he's got a stable head coach. He's got Brian Thomas Jr. now. Maybe it'll be
stable head coach. We thought why wasn't Doug Peterson in year 1? They had all this success. Well, we thought that was a stable system, right?
Do we even know what kind of went wrong with that deal? Was it just that they stunk, or was there actually something that was going on? Because it felt like at times
bad GM didn't help either. Bulky.
It felt like at times not necessarily that the team quit, but it didn't seem like there wasn't any relevance around them. Like they were just kind of a body. They were just there.
I guess a lot like Jacksonville as a city.
Yeah, sure. Just like the difference between Trevor Lawrence and the excuses you can make for when things went poorly behind him, right? The guys who got out, Stafford or Goff, these teams, not Goff, but the teams who left Carson Palmer, teams who left bad organizations, went on and had some success at other places because they did it. They were still simultaneously at least just putting up numbers on bad teams. Everybody knew Stafford was the goods. He still put up numbers. Yeah. Their team stunk, but he was still good. In Trevor Lawrence's case, the team stinks and he stinks. They both stink. Like Niger's
fair point.
performing well. He's not like putting up numbers on a bad team. He's putting up bad numbers on a bad team.
That's a good point.
Like the quarterbacks who left and found like success, they always put up like stats, in my opinion. Like they had some success where they were.
I'm not willing to say he's Sam Darnold or Jared Goff yet. You know, I'm not willing to say, because Jared Goff obviously has turned it around, but I'm not willing to say he's just a bust and has to go to a system that has Kevin O'Connell for him to have any sort of success.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending, and then what are our expectations for the Royals' new leadoff hitter, Jonathan India. We've talked about multiple players, what we think they're going to contribute in 2025. What's realistic for India? We'll tell you about it next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
FanDuel is turning the excitement up even higher for college basketball. Through the first 2 rounds of the tournament, bet on the lowest winning seed of the day, and you'll win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. Now, that's an upset you're not going to be upset about. FanDuel is the best place to bet on the tournament. You can bet on everything from spreads to money lines, team totals, plus so much more. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to download America's #1 sportsbook today and back your dog of the day, because in March, anything can happen. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live moneyline wager on lowest seed requirement. Each $1 million jackpot to be split equally among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, Doge is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Coming to Kansas City, the NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship. 16 teams, 15 games, 6 days, 1 national champion. The NAIA Men's College Basketball Championship at Municipal Auditorium, March 20th to the 25th. Non-stop college basketball action at a ticket price good enough to bring the whole family. Get your tickets now at NAIAHoops.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC homebuyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down. 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Looking for the perfect engagement ring? At Shane Company, we know this is an exciting time. It can also be overwhelming.
Customers say this a lot. Where do I start? How do I choose? At Shane Company, this is where the magic happens. Since 1929, we've been experts at helping customers find the perfect engagement ring. We invite you into the design process, help you pick out the perfect diamond or colorful gemstone, and choose a style that speaks to you. Come see us in store and at shaneco.com. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person will win the grand prize, a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey and framing, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery.
Hey, Royals fans, it's Vern. The Hot Stove Show is back every Thursday night at 6 o'clock from spring training all the way up until opening day. This is your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ, FM, and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Applied today at bakeru.edu. The NCAA tournament does get going tonight. It's first four action, but it's basketball. It's for the tourney. 16 seeds will kick it off at 5:40 on True TV. St. Francis out of Pennsylvania.
I'm a big St. Francis guy.
Are you? And which St. Francis? The Pennsylvania one or other ones?
Pennsylvania.
New York? Just more than the New York one.
Yeah, screw New York.
Sure. Alabama State. That's at 5:40. Alabama State, 3.5-point favorite. They're in the South region, if you were wondering. And then the game that I think a lot of people are excited for, 11-seed play-in game. North Carolina, all the controversy there. Take on 11-seed San Diego State out of the Mountain West. 8:10 scheduled tip-off, also on True TV. That's part of the South region as well. And then tomorrow we'll have two more first four games. 16-seed Mount St. Mary's against American, and then Xavier, Texas.
Next up on What's Trending, Jameis Winston is officially going to visit the New York Giants today as they continue to wait whatever beach journey Aaron Rodgers is on. I honestly think the perfect scenario for them is vet quarterback who starts the year as a starter or is in a straight-up competition with Shadur Sanders or Cam Ward, one of those two starting quarterbacks. Then let the vet handle it for half a season if you need to. Things go poorly, you hand things off to the rookie. No big deal, no harm. That feels like the safest bet for them. Jameis would be a perfectly fine option inside of that category.
Next, how about Major League Baseball? Did you guys know the season actually started today? I honestly didn't until late last night. It opened in Tokyo. Great scene out there, but it was at 5 a.m., 3 a.m. Pacific time. Dodgers got the win against the Cubs, if you were wondering, 4-1. They're on their way to a 162-0 season.
Probably. They're the single best team in all of Major League Baseball again. And once again, are probably the favorite and should be to win the World Series.
Yeah,
Colt and I have already said it. We hope they just win every year until baseball's like, this is untenable. The Dodgers are ruining the sport and then force like collective bargaining in a sense that like everyone's under the same TV package or some nonsense that at least evens the playing field. Next up on What's Trending, the Royals announced today that they will go, we've already known they're going to go powder blue jerseys this year as their primary. That was great news as it was. But that's powder blue top, white pants. No. Royals will wear full powder blue jerseys, top and bottom, retro hat to match.
Love that.
Every Saturday home game at the K. Oh, it's such a good look.
It is.
I was so mad when the Blue Jays went full powder again. I'm like, how are you letting them do this? Yours is even better than theirs. So full powder blue uniform
on Saturdays.
Every Saturday home game. So that'll include obviously the second game of the season for the Royals.
Yeah, the batting helmets look really nice. The batting helmet, like, give me one of those bad boys signed. Give me one of those batting helmets signed, and we're
Vinny. Let's try to get one for the garage sale. Maybe not that.
I think we can work on something hopefully for the garage sale. Elsewhere on What's Trending, we mentioned this during actually the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Brandon Graham, longtime Philadelphia Eagle, announced his retirement today after 15 seasons, couple rings in the league. That is What's Trending here on Cody and Gold. A reminder coming up at 1 o'clock, Nate Taylor, Chiefs insider from The Athletic, will join us in studio. We'll talk all things Chiefs. What other moves are on the way, if any? Are they done till the draft? What else could happen? And just where things stand after some of the veterans they brought back, Juju and Kareem Hunt. What's the draft plan look like? Has it changed at all? Nate Taylor will, of course, give us what he has heard and some of the insight in just a bit. But let's talk some baseball. You mentioned it there. Dodgers opening day today, technically. Royals opening day a week from Thursday. Vern's got the roundtable at a Hollywood Casino a week from this Friday. He'll be talking to Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell. We'll all be out at Hollywood Casino next Friday starting at 6 o'clock. Someone that I think people are excited to see in the leadoff role is the biggest acquisition of the offseason, Jonathan India. We had him on the show a couple weeks ago. What are you expecting out of him? Because I actually don't think the bar is like crazy high, but also you have a legit leadoff hitter now. And that was why you made the move, and we're willing to part ways with a really good pitcher in Brady Singer. This is a guy that's going to give you hopefully 150-plus games as your leadoff hitter. He's going to give you solid at-bats. From an actual statistical standpoint, I think he's a 265 hitter. He's never been above 270, by the way. If you're thinking, wow, that's not a high bar.
269 was his best the year he won Rookie of the Year.
So he's never been better than that. He's never been a 270 hitter. I'm in the 260, 265 range, 10 to 15 stolen bases. Basically, what his stat line has been his career, right? Like back of the baseball card stuff. Maybe the stolen bases are up, but I looked it up earlier. He's never had more than 14 stolen bases. And there's an argument that, hey, you want him to get on base, and then you don't want to get outs on the base pass when you got Bobby and Vinny and Salvi behind you. But get on base. We know he was top 10 in walks in baseball last year. That's what you're asking for him. I think it's just a pretty standard, give me what your baseball card says you are kind of year for Jonathan India.
I'm trying to think about it from the perspective of where I think he values, because he's obviously an important player. They did not have a professional, major league on base leadoff guy all of last year. Man, they tried. Oh, they tried over
rotated 5 different players
and over. Dude, in the playoffs, their 4-hitter was a free agent 40-year-old. They just didn't have a qualified lineup. What I want out of Jonathan India, even more than the statistics, is let him be able to be 1 through 6 deep. Last year, they barely got through 4. And really, it wasn't 1 through 4. It was 2 through 4, you felt pretty good. 2 through 5 when Vinny was healthy, right? And then after that, 6 through 9, you're screwed. The leadoff spot, that ain't good enough. They tried Maikel Garcia, who wasn't even, they're not even sure as him as a starter this year. And he was their leadoff hitter for a chunk of the season. Massey, when he was healthy, worked for a little bit, but then it was is this his natural spot based on base or this other stuff? It wasn't all a good fit. And so, for him, it's they need so much just to be a professional lineup, and it feels like he kind of sets the tone for that. As most important players go for the Royals, where is India in that chain?
Yeah, he's obviously after.
Number 1 is Bobby Witt Jr. Cool. Yeah. Reagan's is number 2, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if anybody would argue those 1-2 starting pitching matters a lot. He's in the top 10, but he's on the back end of that. So they don't need him to be a hero, I guess is the point. Starting pitching is always going to matter. Lugo and Reagan's are more important. Bobby's more important. I think Vinny's more important for this year, and so is Salvi.
There's 5 right there.
So there's 5. So maybe he's in that
probably
6 to 10.
He's probably the 7th most important player. You can make a case. Some people might push him down because they mentioned a couple of bullpen arms first, Estevez or something like that.
So he doesn't have to be a hero. It's a really important thing for him. He just has to be exactly what you said, the back of his baseball card. Can you get on base? Can you get on base at a 340 clip? He walked the 5th most in baseball last year. Just keep doing that, and the other guys behind you will put you in for runs. We'll get you home if you can just get on base.
Yeah, someone was asking on the text line what I thought about like Jonathan India to lead the league in runs scored at 200 to 1 is a good value. If you're wondering, last year most runs scored was not anywhere near, I don't think, where he was at. He's got that value he's got that number for Shohei Ohtani put up 134. I believe Jonathan India is like putting up 90 to 96. I mean, you're asking him.
His problem is that his homers are between 15 and 20, so he can only score himself about that many.
Jonathan India has never hit more than 14 home runs or 12 home runs, something like that. Yeah, he's. I believe that.
I thought he was like in the 15 range, but I could be off. I don't remember.
We pulled it up earlier. I don't have the tab up anymore.
14.
I think
that was stolen bases numbers you were talking about.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I'm getting the two numbers
I think
confused.
he's been closer to like the 20 range in home runs.
He's probably like a 10 to 12 home run guy though this year. I honestly believe that. Well, yeah, you can.
Kauffman Stadium's not going to help. He obviously can be a double guy.
What did he do last year? Home run number
in a home run friendly park, 15. He hit 21 in his best year. He had 21, 10, 17, 15.
So 15 homers. Let's
15
call it.
is probably the range.
Right. But most runs scored, I don't. If you're asking, do I like that bet? Not really. I mean, Shohei Ohtani's still playing, and he had 50 more runs scored, I think, than India did. So to lead the league in runs, what did I say? The number was 134 compared to. And then what was Jonathan India's run scored? He had the tab open on Baseball Reference.
I think I still have it.
I think he's going to be in like 90 to 98 runs scored this year.
He scored 84. He'll score more this year, 100.
Yeah.
Actually, your better bet's Bobby Wood Jr. He scored 125 runs.
Yeah,
he was only 9 shy of Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And now he's got more lineup protection behind him. So, like,
I don't know what the number is for that, but yes.
I'm just saying, like, from a...
People are saying, in theory, the guys behind him will get home more often and all that.
300 RBI guys essentially behind him if you're guessing it on last year's stats and he gets on base. There are definitely more runs coming. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the 100 range. Look, as a long shot bet, is it the worst bet of all time? No. 100 runs scored would put him in the top 12 in all of Major League Baseball. The problem is that Shohei Ohtani exists.
134 last year, man.
If it's lead the American League, I think you got an argument.
That's different, yeah.
Because then Shohei and Juan Soto are both behind him. Those guys are in the National League. You don't care.
Look, if
Aaron Judge has no lineup protection, cool. Like, you can start eliminating some people.
If Jonathan India is leading the league, or all the majors.
Then they've won the AL Central.
Yeah. Oh, things are going great.
They're having a great year.
Bobby's having a huge year. Everything's. If all of a sudden your leadoff hitter is in that position, yes, things are going very, very well for your offense.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would take like a 90 win year for the Royals, and still just some like crazy offensive numbers, and for India himself to return to what he was his rookie year. His best year in the bigs was when he was a rookie. He has been playing on some uninteresting Reds teams. This is the best team he's played on probably since his rookie year. That Reds team went to the playoffs. There was a battle there. They were a good
De La
squad.
Cruz, of course, is an incredible player that he played right there with.
Yeah, and yet somehow he's playing with a better player even now.
Yeah.
So, like, he had some protection in the lineup, obviously, because Ellie De La Cruz is a star. But not, like, I don't think to the level just as long as everyone stays healthy as they have now. Like, I think there'll be more available to him in India. That's why I asked, like, where does he rank amongst the most important Royals player? Because I don't want him to feel the pressure of, like, we'll fix our offense from last year. And they weren't a bad offense last year. They were a mediocre offense last year. And I'd like them to threaten with, like,
it'd be pretty funny
being
if
one of the top half offenses in the American League to go with their pitching.
It'd be pretty funny if his first at bat is actually a walk on opening day. Because actually, as much as you want to hit, it's just that would be the exact reason you brought him in immediately. If you took a leadoff walk to open up against the Guardians, leadoff walk.
Oh boy.
Mock draft sounder. Anytime we hear that, Drew has found us another mock draft. Where's this one at?
This one is from the 33rd team.
Okay.
Kyle Krabs.
Kyle Krabs.
Not to be mistaken with former college quarterback.
I don't think he was a former college quarterback. Despite when you Google his name, it pulls up a photo of a UCLA quarterback.
Kyle Krabs is a very memorable name. I don't think you should have gone with that hard K sound to the first name when your last name's Krabs.
Kyle Krabs.
I think you should have softened that first one, you know? Kyle Krabs. It's too much.
That's aggressive.
I don't know anything about Kyle Krabs. I've never heard a single mock of his. Does his wife sell anything on Etsy? Do we have any background
Chris
on Kyle
Trapasso
Krabs?
or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just trying to figure out what Kyle Krabs' personal life is.
It is not Chris Trapasso by any means. No, this is the 33rd team.
He's actually not with the 33rd team anymore.
Oh.
Wait, what?
His last tweet, I'm not even kidding. His last tweet from Kyle Krabs. I've been informed that after the draft in April, my contract will end. So he's
So damn, he just fired off this mock, and now the man's. Oh man, we gotta support his mocks.
He's employed until after. It says I've been informed that after the draft in April, my contract with the 33rd team will not be renewed.
Yesterday.
Damn,
No,
Kyle
he tweeted
Krabs.
out February 23rd, I think.
Okay.
But so he's still employed, but he knows that he's done in 2 months. Anyway,
I promised to fire off mock drafts for a company that's not even going to pay him.
He's under contract.
The mock draft came out yesterday, I promise.
Okay.
It did not come
All
out
right.
in February.
All right.
But with the 31st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Chiefs select, according to Kyle Krabs, Tyleik Williams, interior defensive lineman. Cody, guess where he played at?
Georgia.
That's a good guess, but it was Ohio State.
I told you the Chiefs historically under Andy Reid and
Do
Brett
not
Veach
take
do not
Ohio State
draft
players.
Ohio State players.
This is interesting.
Time to break the trend, dude.
I agree.
So he dives into the Tillery bag in his description. Kyle Krabs does.
Okay.
Kansas City lost Turk Wharton in free agency and is still thin here despite the addition of Jerry Tillery. Given the improving offensive lines across the AFC West, the Chiefs would be wise not to skimp at defensive tackle. Williams is an excellent run defender who could prospect next to Chris Jones.
Everyone thinks every defensive lineman will work if they just get to work next to Chris Jones.
Well,
and it's not. I'll be honest,
It makes sense.
it is not the worst strategy.
Do you like the comp? I've never heard of this player that he's comped to.
I hate comps in which it's just like a player we don't even know. They don't
NFL
all be
Network.
stars.
NFL Network's Lance Erline comp. Alan McNeil.
Okay.
Who?
I don't know who that is.
That could be specifically Lance
Alan
Erline.
Powder?
What
could
is his
be-
problem? Is he trying to prove he knows more about he knows different football players more than any other
gotta
player?
be.
He
Gotta be.
comped a guy that had like 8 career NFL snaps a couple of weeks ago to a wide receiver.
This is a player legitimately I've never heard of. He is in the league still. He's 24 years old. He's 350 pounds, and he plays for the Detroit Lions. But I'll be honest, I've never heard. Some of the draft nerds probably have, but I've never heard
What's
of
his
him.
name?
Alum?
Alum?
A-L-I-M. Alum? Alum?
As an Alum.
Alum McNeil. That's the comp.
That actually does sound very familiar, like he's
lower
a bear or something.
girthy lower body with
Oh, no.
Settle
He was
down.
one of the Detroit Lions who got hurt last year. He was one of the many defensive linemen for the Detroit Lions who got hurt
I'm going to have
last
to
year.
say it again, Drew, because I couldn't finish the sentence. Here's the pro in strength for him. It says he is a girthy lower body with big, meaty hands.
Oh, my.
Just reading the draft. This is from NFL Network. Not my words.
From Lance?
Explosive and violent.
From Margaret Lance?
I don't think you
Shorter arms allow
Lance Erline?
blockers to crowd his frame. Hit or miss holding his ground against double teams.
We don't need to describe. There's nothing. This is like the Aikman audio that you guys played the one time earlier in the season.
Why?
Where
We're just
things
describing
taken out of context.
Can we get Kyle Krabs
Football
on to
related
talk
things.
NFL draft, and then we can try to get him a job? Let's have about Kyle Krabs. I feel
You want him
bad
to
for
be
him.
what our
He could just come
I don't
on
know.
once a week and talk draft, and then we'll just
We
be
saw
like,
your
reminder,
contract's not renewed, so we
Kyle
wanted to-
Krabs is available if anyone is looking for. No, I'm trying to help him. This is not like an insult. I want the guy to get a job.
Okay,
I like his choice of Alan McNeil comparisons. I like
he
an
didn't.
interior
Fairness,
defensive line.
he didn't comp him.
Oh, sorry.
He didn't comp
But I
him.
like the player.
Yeah, we'll ask him if he agrees with Lance Erline. If this player Tyleik Williams has girthy lower body with big meaty hands.
So this is not only a
Can
one
you-
round.
I'm
this
just
is-
sorry. Can we start with some of these comps playing like the old "What's your fantasy" music underneath it? Because if you said that
I'm
sentence,
just reading it, man. You know,
that's what he chose. That's what
I don't know why you have to make it so weird.
That
You know,
could
I'm
be-
just reading it.
That could be the title. That could be the cover page description of a romance novel, based on.
So it says,
the
are
way
they
Lance
marketing
Erline
this
put
guy
that
as
out.
an adult film star or an NFL prospect? I don't know. That's the first time I've seen that verbiage used in one
I
sentence
might have something
together
creative coming up my sleeve
for
coming back
NFL
from,
draft
break.
prospect. What's that?
I might have something creative coming back from break for you guys.
Thank
then.
you for that.
Considering we might as well go all the way now. This is not a one round mock. This is a
Oh,
three
okay.
round.
I apologize. Who they got in the
mock
second?
draft. So in the second round, this is an interesting pick because the player is extremely talented, but it's a guy that they already may have filled a hole for.
right.
Xavier Watts, safety from Notre Dame.
They like drafting safeties in the second
Very,
round. I'll
very-
say. They
he's-
take a lot of second and third round safeties.
He's a very good
Second
player.
round though this year, you think?
His range is interesting. He's gone like early second
Notre Dame guy.
to late second, maybe into the early third. He's had a bit of a range, but playmaker, ball hawking, safety. The dude just
I like
makes
the way
plays.
Kyle Hamilton look. Maybe they can just turn. Maybe they
made
got
plays-
safeties over.
He made
Safety
plays
you.
all throughout the college football playoff for them. So
Okay, I mean, It's not
being an interesting pickup at a position that maybe isn't a quote-unquote need, but it's one of those guys maybe you just take best available if the guy who you had on your board that you like at a spot wasn't there.
I think it's kind of like the way of cheating on corner a little bit. Maybe Connor can play more corner and less safety or less, like maybe there's a little movement there.
Yeah,
his comp.
Not anti-it.
His comp, Malik Hooker.
Okay.
He didn't work out too well.
It's a theme here. Okay.
No, that's just the comp.
Malik
He's a fine player.
Yeah, Malik Hooker's okay.
Would you rather have someone that's similar to Malik Hooker or someone that is lower body's girthy and meaty hands?
That one. I want the meaty hands guy.
It depends on what you need, I guess.
All right, who is the third-round picks?
So 2 third-round picks for the Chiefs, of course, at 66. Pick 2 in the third round is Marcus Imbo, interior offensive lineman from Purdue. This is a spot that makes sense given what we've discussed before.
Totally.
Guard, guy that can potentially compete with Kingsley for that left guard spot. Third-round pick, you're not taking too much risk.
No way to complain about that at all. Got it. And
Now
running
this
back
one.
probably with 95?
No.
Wide receiver?
Harold Fannin Jr. Tight end out of Bowling Green. The dude is
Same prospects, right? A receiver.
potentially big time. Yeah,
I think this is the guy Bink likes.
Bink likes him a lot. Yes.
Which tomorrow, who knows? We might have Bink on because I
Bink said
believe
he's
Bink
down. Yes,
Character
we need to come over the
Concerns, Kristen Osero and Bink have their new mock draft out as well on the Character Concerns podcast. So I think we're going to have Bink call in
Who
tomorrow
is
to
Harold
fill us.
Fannin's comp? I'm sure they got a comp for him because he's been a popular enough pick. I'm sure that they've got.
He's going to say hold on, I want to guess
All right.
first. He's going to say Evan Ingram.
Ooh, just because
That
okay.
actually might be.
Here we go. It's going to take us. Their site's a little slow today. I'll get you the
That
comp
actually
in
might be a
just
good
second.
comp.
Not bad. Not bad.
Good guess.
Here we go. The comp is Jawan Johnson, the Carolina Panthers tight end.
That actually is a.
Okay.
I don't know if you. I think you would take him if you're the Chiefs because he was very good for the. Like last year, I think there were games where he had like 8 or 9 catches.
Did you remember I was somewhat interested in
Saints.
Jawan Johnson at
He
tight
said
end for the Chiefs
they
last
said
year.
Harold Fannin Jr. tight throughout his lower body is a weakness.
tight?
Too tight.
Oh,
not
too
good.
tight.
Not good. That's not a good thing. You don't want to be
Not
tight.
like he's tight.
You don't want to be tight throughout your lower
It's not
body.
that.
That's not good.
Got
You
it.
need to be loose.
In some ways,
jeez.
but not that. Got it. I said I was making it sound like
This
you
has been a
fucking
hell of a
weird.
segment,
I
guys.
did not make it that. I was saying tight is in like the way people used to use the term.
Yep, I got you.
Like this is tight.
So you're blaming the segment on Gold for
Not
stretching
just
it too far.
specifically that part.
I'm
I was
trying to
innocent on
bring.
that part.
I'm
The
trying to
rest I was guilty
bring
of.
the comps to the people. These are names that a lot of listeners haven't heard of. We're trying to learn about these players,
No running back?
their strengths, their cons,
No
their
running back.
weaknesses.
I want a running back in the top 3 rounds. I understand that there are starting running backs in the 5th or 6th round of this draft, but I want one of the better ones.
Well,
Like if
this is
you
what
can
we
get
talk-
essentially a 2nd round talent in the 3rd round at running back, I want it early.
And I wonder, maybe we should get Kyle on to say, hey, how come we didn't have him taking a running back? Maybe he says, well, they just signed Kareem Hunt, and I don't know what they're going to do at running back. That's what we've talked
Maybe
about
Kyle
before,
Krabs
too.
thinks
Who
there's a lot
knows?
of guys good in the 4th or 5th, and he doesn't want to risk the. I mean, by the time they get to the 3rd, because reportedly
they have
they're
to take
like
him in a 4th because they don't have a 5th or a 6th.
Right, reportedly they're like 8 to 10 running backs who are like top 3 round running backs.
Yes.
Teams are going to run
It's
out.
deep.
Like it's not by the time you get to even the end of the 3rd, all those guys aren't going to be gone. Everybody will have already filled their running back need or have their running back needs already met.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be like in the market for yet another one just because they're good. They're
So you're
going to
saying
address some other needs.
So you're saying you could steal one maybe in the 4th
You
round.
might be able
that
to, but
could
I don't
be-
want to go any later than that. Like that's the drop dead point for me. I don't want to and not that Pacheco hasn't had some success. It's just
waiting until the 7th round is.
Yeah, it's just not like a regularly successful model unless you run like the offensive running scheme of a team like Kyle Shanahan, in which case it doesn't really matter where you took the person, if they're undrafted, if they're it doesn't really matter. They'll have some amount of success. The Chiefs require a certain amount of talent in order for their run game to be successful. You can't just be like any dude off the street and run and make it work.
Yeah,
I
he
think
is
that's
a
fair.
girthy lower body with big meaty hands. Thanks, Drew. Thank you.
That is quite. You know what? Sounds like a good player to draft in the 1st round.
Definitely, I'm sold now. Yeah, just
I wasn't
totally
until
sold.
Zerline
yeah.
described it. Then
Yeah, once we found out the
I
strengths.
do want a defensive lineman probably in the 1st round. I would take a defensive lineman with one of my first 3 picks in every draft every year until I just kept hitting. I would do it and that's what the Eagles do. I would just never stop taking defensive linemen. You want just the easiest way to get successful is do that. Once you got quarterback,
What,
especially.
Drew? What's so funny?
That's text line.
What?
Someone says Fannin is 6'4", 230. He's more of a tight end.
Pro Football
I
Focus
mean,
compares
he
him
is a
to
tight
Jonnu
end.
Smith. That was the other comp.
For the 913. So we got a guy
I wouldn't
with,
mind a Jonnu style tight end. That'd be fun.
for the 913. So we got a guy with a large, girthy lower body and a guy with a tight lower body. It's a match made in heaven.
Up next, we're going to get to Major League Baseball, which made another mistake with how they're starting their season. We'll also get a random question of the day.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Look, I don't want to figure out exactly how professional athletes who have meaty paws work out, but if your workout isn't going the same, maybe you've gained weight, you're just tired, lack motivation to do anything, all of these things can be signs of low testosterone. So don't wait, find out. At the Low T Center, get your levels checked. Simple test, on-site lab. The Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T. That's what they're there for. They do TRT, or testosterone replacement therapy, and an individual plan for each individual patient. And I know that's super important because it's easy to just get a generic plan and hope that works. No, you want something customized for you so you can feel like you're being taken care of specifically. And at the Low T Center, they can do that for you. You can be evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1, weight loss medications as well. And if you're a current patient at the Low T Center, help people get there and get the help that you got too. Offers $150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. Get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Ready to shoot your shot? Log into BetMGM and make your picks in our March Matchups $250K Pickup for your chance to win a share of bonus bets. It's free to play and easy to get started. Just log into your BetMGM account and predict what will happen at different points throughout the college basketball tournament. You'll earn points with every correct answer, which gives you a shot to win a share of bonus bets. That's right. Just pick what will happen throughout March Matchups, and if you make enough correct picks, you'll win a share of $250K in bonus bets. Think you know college basketball? Log into BetMGM and make your picks to win a share of $250,000 in bonus bets. It's free to play. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
All right, I got an update for you. Remember last week I told you I started Awaken 180 weight loss? Well, in just 2 weeks, I've already lost 12 pounds. Yeah, 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And I know you're like, all right, Cody's been dodging all this stuff. You guys know we went out and did the big listener stuff last week. I'm not skipping dinners. I don't live in a bubble. It's not like that. It's been the opposite. So thanks to Awaken 180, I'm still living my normal life while dropping 12 pounds. Didn't stop me from doing all the normal stuff, just like you. Went to go watch basketball in person last week and everything else, all while losing the weight, and give you the tools you need to do it. Let them help you reach your weight loss goal, just exactly like they're doing for me. I wanted to improve my quality of life, and so can you. Makes me feel better, I feel better, and it's a weekly weight loss without the medications, and you receive free support for life. If you want to learn more, reserve your at-home consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call, 844-346-1800.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellcasey.com.
Jake from State Farm. I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new tropical room spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done. This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com, Renner forward and back.
RENNER. Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
He is a girthy lower body with big, meaty hands. Oh, my. Explosive and violent, tight throughout his lower body. You don't want to be tight throughout your lower body. That's not good. You need to be loose. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Lance Zerline.
Lance
Great
Zerline.
descriptions.
Providing us all the information we need to know about some of the draft prospects. What would we do without those?
Don't know.
Coming up in about 25 minutes, Nate Taylor from The Athletic going to join us. But I mentioned during What's Trending that the baseball season has already begun. And this is another example, I think, of baseball missing the mark. So for those that don't know, the Dodgers and Cubs are playing in Tokyo. They'll have another game tomorrow. They played a game at 5 a.m. this morning, our time, 3 a.m. out in L.A.
Technically, it's tomorrow. They technically played on Wednesday. And
they played Tuesday night. It is now Wednesday at 2:30 in the morning in Tokyo. I understand growing the sport. I get it. The reception in Tokyo has been insane because of Shohei and multiple Japanese-born players that are in the Cubs and Dodgers organization and playing in the games. And they had 100-plus movie theaters sold out for the games. It's been a huge success there. I still think for quote-unquote America's pastime, it is terrible to begin the season, because technically it began already, in Tokyo when the games are on 5. If it was Tokyo and the game was on at 2 this afternoon, I really wouldn't have as big of a problem with it. It is the fact that your product was not accessible to the majority of this country because it was at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I truly, until my fantasy baseball draft last night, I had zero clue that there was a game this morning. You said you knew. Drew said he didn't know. I bet you a majority of our listeners did not know there was a baseball game until they woke up this morning, maybe tried to turn on the local news on Fox 4 and was like, wait, whoa, there's a baseball game? Fox didn't even send their crew. Fox Sports, Jason Benetti, the broadcaster, they were remote. They weren't even in Tokyo.
I hate that. This
is a couple years now that baseball has done this. They play 2 games there, and then the regular season doesn't start for everybody else opening day till next Thursday. I just don't get it. To me, it's a big miss by Major League Baseball doing this in America. I understand that in Tokyo it's a hit, but the NFL doesn't have the first game of the year in Brazil. They wait till the Friday.
No, but they talked about having a Super Bowl overseas.
And it's in prime time. They've talked about it. They haven't done it yet. I do not like that discussion already. But at least the Brazil game on Friday night, it's not the first game, and it's on in prime time. It's on at 7 o'clock here in Kansas City.
That's really the key to probably all of it. They're trying to grow the audience, so it's going to be like a normal time. And look, it's easier, right? Because they went to Tokyo, the time difference makes it really difficult to choose a time that both works for the Tokyo audience and works so that someone in the U.S. market can watch it. Like 5 in the morning, I don't get up at 5 a.m. I get up pretty early, but I don't get up at 5 a.m. I can still catch part of the game today. 3 a.m. for the Dodgers market, that's a real challenge. That adds a whole nother element. I would at least consider that. I don't think that this is way different, other than they're not as good at promoting it. I don't think this is way different than putting the second game of the NFL season in Brazil. Like, you're taking a premium game the first week of the NFL season, and you're sticking it in a completely different country, changing the way this all works for these teams.
But we all know that's happening. I truly don't think a majority
that's the mistake they made. Is they did a good job being like, Tokyo baseball, look how cool the visuals are. And it seems like you and others were confused about the fact that this was a regular season game that counted.
Right.
Not just the major league players were in Tokyo glad-handed.
Yeah, like we know that Brazil game is a real regular season NFL game. It's also on during primetime. A lot of this, if the game was on during our show at noon today even, I don't think I would have as big of a problem with this. Like, if you told me right now on TV we were watching the Dodgers play, the game just started, let's say, I think I would understand it more. That's where they messed up. I know it was in primetime in Tokyo, but make it what would it have to be? Make it an early afternoon game in Tokyo, I guess is what it would have to be, because it's the way the time zone works.
From a point from the 816, which I think is fair, does it matter for anybody but the fans of those two things? You and I, teams, you and I both know baseball is regionalized. Baseball knows that. They're not even trying to hide from that. Yeah, I don't watch Cubs opening day, Angels opening day. I don't watch any other team's opening day but my own.
But you'll have other baseball games on maybe that day or whatever, right?
Sure, but like, I don't watch anybody, I don't like go out of my way to be like, I'm going to watch that opening day. And baseball, at least doing it in this way, is like, look, the baseball season is starting and we're making a spectacle. We put ourselves in Tokyo. That's, again,
but
goes back to the biggest mistake they made was like prime time.
Yeah.
If you put it at night, under the lights, made a scene, then I think you're kind of accomplishing both of the things you and I are talking about, where you are making it a spectacle. But they don't, opening day is about each individual team. They don't make like one game the opening of the baseball season a thing.
But
it's like the collective. It's the collective.
And I get
and they've kind of robbed themselves there, right? Because technically, we're a game in.
Like the texter saying that, like, there's so many games, big deal if I watch 161. I understand. It's not like I am upset that I didn't get to watch game 1 of 162 of Shohei Ohtani today. It's more that, to me, it's a terrible job by the sport. You are Major League Baseball, and you are starting your brand new season, and I won't say nobody, a majority of people didn't know what happened. That's all I'm saying.
I wonder what the difference is between, like, what percentage of, like, hardcore baseball fans, like the people they already have. And by the way, you're not doing this kind of event for the people you already have hooked. Everything people do from a ratings perspective, from an entertainment perspective, is not the people who already consume your product.
Right.
You're doing it for the people who bring in new. So I do get that. Because for the diehards, they probably did know. Everybody who I follow that's a diehard baseball fan was, talking about it last night, or talking about, like kind of a cool setup.
But you didn't set your alarm for 5 a.m. to make sure you were up for it.
I saw a little bit of it this morning, but I didn't tune in for 9 innings either, right? I mean, I knew they won. I knew that's the case. But baseball also, I think it's always so stupid, because for 20 years of my life, I've had it. Baseball's dying. It's not dying. That is just factually incorrect.
The demographics are getting older. They need to find a way to attract a younger audience.
They are, and they've had a little bit more success with that lately by shortening the way that the games work, and at some point they'll continue to. They've tried to get more into the social media end and some of these other things.
I know you don't like playoff expansion, but that has been a good thing, because more markets feel like their team is in it later on in the season.
Sure. And those are the things they're going to do in order to try to, like, grow the sport and continue to grow the sport. But it's not dying. It's just not growing the way football grows. And football is at, like, a growth point where, like, they are like, well, we're tapped in the U.S. We got every single person in the entire United States hooked into football. How the hell do we get everybody else in the entire world the way soccer gets to be global, or the way the NBA is way better at being global, even though it's just funny. Like for baseball, they got to make a decision. The NBA has made this decision, I think. The NBA understands they got a limited local, like as a national interest in what they're going to get. Their ratings are somewhat fixed in that department. They can grow a little bit as the population grows. They have continued to grow and try harder to grow internationally, more and more and more. Not trying to get more, not trying to get more national audience. They're trying to get more and more and more and more international audience. Baseball could make a similar argument because you're going to be popular in all the sports. The baseball's
they played the
London.
They played the London series last year or 2 years ago. I think they had the Yankees and Red Sox in London. Time zone's not as problematic there, and the travel's not as problematic there. But they were able to do that, and that one, if I remember right, was on a Saturday at like noon, though. See, that's the difference. Yeah. It was Saturday at noon or 1 o'clock, and I get it. It's not a day plus 14 hours difference or whatever Tokyo is, because it's Wednesday at 2:40 in the morning right now there, whereas in London, it's just, 6 o'clock at night or something.
It's easier with the time shift. And that's what we talk about, like when you just go south, right, instead of east or west. When you play the NFL game in Brazil, you don't really have to change anything about the timing of the game for the people in Brazil. It's an hour or two, right? It's not some massive shift outside of it. But for their sake, the Pacific area, like Japan and Korea, where they played last year, and like they're just baseball hungry already. So like that's where your international audience is. You got to travel further to get it. Your international audience currently isn't in, like you said, like it's not as regularly in London or some of these other countries. They've already adopted. The sports are going to adopt. Look, it's not perfect. I'm not claiming it was like everyone was gung-ho about it. I think it's funny you're doing your baseball draft last night. You're like, hey, wait, this guy I drafted plays tomorrow?
Yeah, I drafted Yamamoto of the Dodgers.
Hey, gotta win.
And you got to win. Thank you. That was needed. I appreciate that. I didn't watch any of it. Yeah.
I wonder if along the lines of that, of the game being spread international, like with soccer, is, the leagues are already big enough where they're at. They're doing it for their people. Like for Manchester United, it's not like anything in England is not going to change. Of course, you do Champions League and you might travel and stuff, but the timing isn't so much so where it is still a American product where you can have the games elsewhere, but put them at a time that while it is local for the people in Japan or Korea or wherever the case is, make it also viewable where it's not at 3 a.m. and you're going to lose a lot of your quote-unquote true American audience. At least, find a way to make it manageable for people to stay up a little bit later at night and still be able to catch, even if it's 5 innings of the game, at least be able to catch 5 innings of the game instead of wake up and see either the last inning or just
like West Coast baseball. It's not like I always make it to the end of the game.
Totally.
9 p.m. first pitch.
Mm-hmm. And it's in Tokyo, it was a massive success.
Yeah,
massive.
I bet.
Based off of ticket sales and the movie theaters that are showing the game. We had a very similar conversation last year about this when it was in Korea, and a lot of it is just poor marketing back in the States. And yes, if it's the World Tour and it's for the world, we're still talking about a regular season baseball game happening a week and a half before everybody else is playing. All right, let's get to it. The random question.
There it is. You jumped it. I could see him scramble, and he went for the button.
I was going over here to put something together.
Spoiler, the one thing in radio, 2 seconds in radio feels like 10 seconds of silence.
In our head, it feels like an eternity.
Yeah.
It felt like 15 seconds passed while I was coming
But it was probably like a second and a half. That's just like,
yes.
When we're sitting here silent, we're like, oh my God, should we say words? For you, Gold, for you, Drew, over in the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, the random question of the day is brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week, and then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. The question I have for you today is, do you think they'll have a lot of interested parties in this package? It was announced that Taco Bell will be offering a wedding package in Las Vegas.
All right.
For $777. So 777, right?
Get it.
Right on there. Yeah. Here are the things you need to know before you book.
All right.
Weddings must be booked at least 4 hours prior to the ceremony. That is not having to provide very much time at all.
All right.
They will not provide the marriage license, so you got to get that squared away. In Vegas, you can get that pretty much any corner. You must provide at least one guest as a witness. You can have up to 25 guests, Any food outside of the Taco Bell 12-pack that is included, and Cinnabon Delights cake that is included as the
Cinnabon's providing that. Okay.
And alcohol will need to be purchased separately. It says, please arrive ready to go. You have 30 minutes to access the chapel for your ceremony. And
do you get
they're non-refundable. You get a Taco Bell shirt.
Do you get some food? Some taco crunchy shells?
Yeah, you get a Taco Bell shirt and a bow tie. So it comes with custom wedding merchandise that includes a sauce packet garter.
Oh, jeez.
A bow tie that says just married, champagne flutes, and then, the cake, the tacos, the party pack, and you'll receive a wedding album to commemorate the event. Do you think Taco Bell's going to have a lot of the Taco Bell wedding ceremony?
Yes, they will have a lot of them. You and I remember we were in Vegas for the Super Bowl over a year ago now. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you remember this, Cody. We were walking on the Strip, Las Vegas Boulevard. In front of New York, there was a Cheetos pop-up chapel.
Oh, I do kind of remember that, yeah.
Remember that?
Oh, there was.
It was a Cheetos pop-up chapel, and that thing was so, like, they said we were booked. They said they were booked for the day. We walked by, we were like, is anybody getting married? And people were in there getting married. And they're like, yeah, we've been booked all day. So, I think the Taco Bell one will be good. Yeah, and then people will go with the gimmick that is that. Plus, if you don't have to get your marriage license, you're telling me someone's not just saying, screw it, let's just have some fun and actually get the marriage license?
Yeah, we'll get the marriage license, sure, and then we just have like a fake...
funny thing, you take a photo.
We pay $777. We'll all eat tacos and drink and have fun.
I could see somebody doing that.
Get a book. I wouldn't rule that out if it's like we're not technically getting married, but it does seem like they'll supply the officiant. So they'll tell you through. Do you, like, if you do that, do you customize your vows to include, like, you're the chalupa of my world? Like, do you?
Sure.
You gotta lean into the bit. You're just shaking his head.
No. Okay, think about how this conversation goes. All this planning, all of it that goes into it. And you go to your fiance or your soon-to-be wife and think,
let's get a Taco Bell wedding.
I'm thinking about getting a Taco Bell wedding. What do you?
Hey, less than $1,000 too. That's pretty sweet.
What's the
unless you met
at a
Taco Bell and somehow like you were in a drive-through and almost got ran over and
what if Taco Bell's a couple 4 days a week.
He dove and saved you and the crunchy tacos and there's some amazing backstory. I don't get it.
What is it, like a Disney film now?
Yeah, basically. It's actually a Taco Bell short they're going to start producing.
What about like a renewal of vows? Is that a better spot for that kind of thing?
That's still.
We don't want to do a full-blown wedding. Just you and I go to Vegas maybe in August.
You guys are both married. You tell me, what do you think your wives would say?
Hell no.
I don't know how she'd respond. Let's say I pitch this.
So.
You
Sauce pack garter.
Let's say you and I go to Vegas again in August like we did last year.
Yeah, hopefully.
And my wife comes along on the trip. And I say, hey, let's renew our vows. And the listeners have kindly agreed to pay the $777 for you and I to renew our vows at the Taco Bell chapel. I think she'd say yeah.
If you're renewing your vows, I think it actually...
What about your wife?
If you're renewing your vows, Cody, I think it is a much more likely
you
chance
think you
that
can
it
convince
happens.
your wife, Drew?
I don't think so.
Even if it was paid for?
Dude, if it was paid for,
come
on.
If it was paid for, I think there's some convincing.
If it's paid for, I think you kind of have to do it. If you and your wife had to get married, Drew, this is the follow-up to the random question. If you and and I'll ask you, Drew, like, or Gold, it's a little tough for you because it's only one-sided at the moment.
Yeah.
If there was a fast food chain in which you had to get married at, all right, you got to renew your vows.
Have to.
Got to be at a fast food chain that you two most closely relate to, Drew. Which fast food chain are you getting married at?
So my wife loves Popeyes. Be Popeyes.
Okay, Popeyes. They're going to be in the lobby of a Popeyes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to guess, God, what one does my wife like the most? Like of the fast food places.
There's only two that are coming to mind
because kids
right
like
now.
Happy Meals. That's probably the one we hit the most, I would say, regularly.
The reason I was going to say McDonald's is because I know you know what you're getting 100% out of that. Chick-fil-A was the other one. Chick-fil-A was the other one, man. You just have the chicken, you have the nuggets on a tray that and Chick-fil-A already does the football shaped trays, so maybe they'll have some wedding ring shaped tray or something. We'll go with that.
I'm gonna guess that McDonald's would be on the list. Like if it can't be just like a regular restaurant, it's probably on the list. I don't think that there's one that we visit more often.
Tacos are easy though.
But tacos, I love tacos. Yeah. So Taco Bell might actually be the choice. All right, this is it, I guess. I'll ask my wife if she wants to get married at the Taco Bell. She wants to renew our vows in August.
You guys can join us in Vegas in August.
We'll need 25 people. Says we got to provide a
Mick wedding.
I just it would be wild.
At Chick-fil-A.
Jeez.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was just saying, like, someone says, why does everybody pay for Cody's stuff? I don't know. Sometimes you guys, what else have you paid for me?
Someone says Arby's. Oh, my goodness.
No,
Lance.
that text is
speaking
kind of wild.
Arby's is crazy. And also the rest of it. It's not great. Thanks, Lance.
He says he's got the meats. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Speaking of, I will say, so maybe, what was it, Monday? What was it, last week? I told you my kid, Ruby, was like dead set on doing the Major Saver card. And so I put it to social media as an effort to be like, I got to get this thing out of the way. It's too much work. I bribed my son. I'll be like, I'll just take you to Worlds of Fun, Oceans of Fun. I'll sell the Major Saver cards for Ruby. Happy to report Ruby's got enough people who have purchased a card that she will going on a limo ride. Horrible news is that now that she is going on it, Desmond wants to do it. I'm like, and now I'm behind. And now I'm like, dude, I would have shared the people who I had getting this card for Ruby, and we could have split this thing, and I could have, because now she's over the number, right?
Yeah, you sent me the link to Ruby's. I only bought.
You don't need to buy one for Desmond, because I can't expect I'll have to buy two, right? Like I'll buy one for Desmond.
This to me, by the way?
They will just ship it to you.
I was wondering if I have to wait for you to deliver this or what?
No. They ship it directly to you, so they're going to make it easy on you not to do that.
Okay.
I'm about 4 days away from asking I'm going to need like 10 heroes to send Desmond on this limo ride because there just ain't no way. I can't go door to door. I don't have the energy. I didn't ask the people on air to sell rubies. I asked the people of social media. I'll just be honest with you. I'm going to need like 10 of you probably at some point to buy the Major Saver card. It's a discount card for, I don't know, restaurants and stuff.
It had a few things. There was one or two places on there. It's not a bad deal.
There's like 3 or 4, I think, on the Northland one that I really liked. I was like, okay, cool. No big deal. But I sent all my family to the one kid who was expressing interest. So now what? I can't go back for round 2.
Then you have to find new people.
I'm going to have to find new people. So if somebody needs...
Someone says, don't you have like 1,000 siblings, Cody?
So here's the split. For the siblings who don't have kids of that age, who are kids have aged out, I hit up. For anybody who has kids of an age that are also stuck doing it, I feel like I can't go to them. Some of us have similar age children. Doesn't work that way. So just screwed, I guess. I'm going to need 10 heroes on this one.
Are you sure that it's
10 heroes? I'll just send you a link if you want one. Let me know.
Desmond gets to bring friends, correct?
I don't know how this
Multiple
works.
people, 3 people on the text line want the link, Cody. There you go. 3 people on the text line
I just
want
need
the
10
link.
heroes, and then I can be done with this thing.
People are asking if Desmond's bringing his girlfriend along for the ride.
Oh, that's a great... You know what? Should we sell 15 for her, too?
Oh, my
They're already getting in
goodness.
enough trouble, man. They're already getting in enough trouble. I can't have that.
Can you imagine if
every day I got to wonder if the teacher's going to tell me there's another...
Good luck explaining that
cheek
to her
kiss.
parents. Hey,
You
so
know?
Desmond has a limo ride, and we also sold some more so that she can
How
go
long
as
does it
well.
take for me to get my card, Cody? How long does this thing take?
They said I think it was like 3 to 5 business days.
Oh, so I might get it
That's
this
not
week.
bad.
Yeah, they didn't seem like it was bad.
So you're
Someone
stuck
asked how
now-
much the cards are. They're only like $15. Really not bad.
There's 2. When I went on there, it was 15 for certain cities. It was 20 for the premier card. I don't know. There's like 2 different cards. Some are 20, some are 15.
So you're now taking Desmond to both Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun and the limo ride, correct?
Oceans of Fun's off.
Someone wants to know, Cody, and how many heroes you need to pay your mortgage this month?
I already paid that. We're good there.
For next month.
For next month. I don't need to pay the mortgage. I'm okay there. I just didn't want to buy $300 of the Major Saver cards.
man.
And then what? I just start handing them out in Easter baskets or something?
Basically.
You can't even use 15 of them. We're going to already have 2 because I got to buy one from each kid.
Right.
You know? And I didn't even bother you. I didn't be like, hey, Gold, look, I'm going to need you to get a set.
No,
You
I
need 2.
texted you Saturday for the link.
You did.
And I did go online and buy one, but that's funny.
Oh, so silly. I couldn't believe when he changed his mind. I was like, dude, he's like, well, but it sounds fun now. And I was like, oh, come on, man. I need you to help me out. We could have started this from the beginning. We could have been okay. I just think, I didn't think it's an impossible allure for
Is there
a kid.
anything above the limo ride?
Yeah, several things.
Oh, what? Like what?
Well, there's like, I don't need my kids to even, I've already given,
what's the
buried
next-
their dreams.
I'm sure-
Well,
what's
one
the
is
bigger
the
prize?
season pass to Worlds of
Oh,
Fun.
okay,
Oceans of
that's
Fun,
even
right?
bigger, okay.
That's 50, not 15.
Jeez. Okay.
Right, which is nuts,
What's
right?
the best prize then?
I think that's the top prize.
Okay.
I believe
I
that's
was like,
the top
how
prize.
high do we just keep going? It starts getting to ridiculous.
No. I think-
Disney World, you sell 5,000 of these. You get Disney World.
No, I think the genuine top prize is the Oceans of Fun, Worlds of Fun. And then like the one in between, it's like cell phone charger that lights up. I'm like, my kid's in kindergarten. He doesn't have a cell phone.
Yeah. That's funny. All right, that's the
I don't know if people give their kids
question
cell
of the
phone,
day. People suggesting you bribe your students in your class as well.
Am I allowed to do that?
I don't think so.
Probably not the best idea.
Probably not allowed to bribe my students. There's probably some rules against that.
Yeah, I would say so. I could see that potentially could get you into a little bit of a problem. Don't forget, though, by the way, here at 96.5 The Fan, go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person's going to win the grand prize. That's a Bobby Wood Jr. autographed jersey. It's framed up. How awesome is that? All thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. Up next, we're talking some Chiefs football with our Chiefs insider from The Athletic, Nate Taylor. We'll ask him if the Chiefs are done at this point in time, and has he heard anything about a couple of the other unrestricted free agents? That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again, telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside, and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric, because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedules.
You choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
98 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. Locally owned and operated since 1927. Headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, 816-221-0072. Or schedule online at ohdkc.com.
Your new Academy Sports and Outdoor store is now open in Kansas City, Northland, with the best in sports equipment, outdoor gear, apparel, and footwear from the brands you love, all at low prices every day. We carry a wide selection of trusted brands like Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. Plus, you can shop online or on our app with free in-store pickup, or enjoy free shipping to your home on purchases over $25. Your newest Academy Sports and Outdoor store is located at 9130 Northwest Skyview Avenue.
FanDuel is turning the excitement up even higher for college basketball this March. Through the first 2 rounds of the tournament, bet on the lowest winning seed of the day, and you'll win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. Now, that's an upset you will not be upset about. FanDuel is the best place to bet on the tournament. You can bet on everything from point spreads, money lines, and team totals, and so much more. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download America's #1 sportsbook app today and back your dog of the day, because in March, anything can happen. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Winning pre-live money line wager on lowest seed required. Each $1 million jackpot to be split evenly among all eligible winners. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. What's the most important thing men should know about prostate cancer?
I would strongly recommend PSA testing. It's a simple blood test. It's inexpensive, and basically every male over 50 should be having this PSA once a year. Prostate cancer is the second leading cancer killer of men.
And why should they go to KCUC?
We not only treat more prostate cancer than anyone else in this part of the country, we also start with cutting-edge diagnostics who offer the most precise diagnoses of prostate cancer using ultrasounds and MRI. We can offer surgical, medical, and radiation types of treatments. And even for men who require additional therapies, we're able to offer all that at a single site.
Get your PSA level tested by the experts. Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcuc.com.
Important Social Security news. President Trump's Doge chief, Elon Musk, says Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. And he says there's so much fraud, it's the big one to eliminate.
Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, warning that your Social Security could be in danger. Already, DOGE is slashing half the Social Security offices across the nation. Rob Finnerty says that's wrong. Millions will find their benefits denied. You paid into Social Security all your life. Now, Rob Finnerty exposes the lies about Social Security and why it must be protected. Watch Rob's special series on the dangers to Social Security at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app. Millions of Americans are switching to Newsmax because it's news they can trust. It's real news for real people.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Go to 965thefan.com for the Fiery Hot Sevens contest, where you can win a $30 instant scratch ticket, and one person will win the grand prize, a Bobby Witt Jr. autographed jersey and framing, all thanks to our friends at the Kansas Lottery. The Royals Roundtable with Michael Massey, Kyle Isbell, and Josh Vernier. Friday, March 28th, starting at 6 o'clock at Hollywood Casino. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
1 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We got our guy Nate Taylor from The Athletic, our Chiefs insider, joining us in studio. We'll talk plenty of Chiefs, but first I have to ask you: are you, you should join our bracket challenge? Are you a bracket guy? Do you have one filled out yet?
I am one of these people that loves to do kind of their own research, but also vibes. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, you have to fill out the bracket before, 6 o'clock tonight when the first game is?
You don't have to do it tonight.
A lot of brackets will let you do it.
No.
Nate says it's not honor code.
But it doesn't matter.
Honor code.
You're not picking the first four.
It doesn't matter. This is my point. The tournament starts at whatever 5:30 today. Like, get your brackets in, put the money on the table, and let's go. So I'll do it at 3 o'clock today.
You should join our little bracket group we got.
Yes, text me it so I can join in and show off how poorly I am at judging. Hey, I've never heard of this.
You can join the club.
I tucked myself in with some numbers and research and a particular player. I'm like, yeah, that's my guy. I watched 10 college basketball games that weren't Kansas, Missouri, or K-State.
Right. Look, it's been I also understand it's been a great year. St. John's has never been good since I've been alive, ladies and gentlemen, or this good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I really need Rick Pitino in my life for another two more weekends.
That's the Legends bracket. Bill Self, Calipari, and Pitino. Legends bracket.
I'm like, I just need you to get to like the Sweet 16, Elite 8. Come on, Rick. So yeah, I mean, I've looked at the bracket. I was convinced, and I talked to my son about this, Hayden, who's 9.5, loves his Kansas Jayhawks. Me on the other side of the rivalry because I really rocked with Norm Stewart and Keon Dooling back in the day. My dad went to KU, so I clearly had to be the rebel when I was a child. So now we've flip-flopped again, and I just thought the committee, like, if you're gonna commit to it, commit to the bit, baby. I don't know if y'all have talked about this, but once it became clear that there's only one region left on Sunday night, I said, just do it. Just give it to us. And then I saw Wichita, and I said, come home. And then they put Drake up, and I said, they put us against a 30-win team? It really should have been Kansas versus Missouri in the first round.
I wanted it. Now I got to get all so bad. But think about the juice that is if the two of them just go on a miracle run.
Please, Lord.
And they both win 2 games, and we get a Missouri versus Kansas Sweet 16.
Oh,
it'd be great.
Baby.
It'd be incredible.
With like 5 days or whatever.
Unfortunately, it'll be all the way out in San Francisco is where the regional is at this year.
If this happens, which again, I think Missouri.
I think both are winning their first game.
Yeah, I think Missouri has a slightly better chance. Just because they can get hot from 3, I assume Mr. Grills will finally start hitting 3-pointers at some point in the next 2 games is my hope. I think Missouri has a slightly better chance just because they don't have to play a 2 seed immediately upon beating Arkansas.
Sure.
I watched Arkansas all year.
I think Kansas is winning that game.
They're all right. They're all right. They cool.
Yeah, they're pretty mediocre.
They're pretty all right. But like, if this happens, I will immediately message any editor at The Athletic to pay for me to see this spectacle. And you said San Francisco?
Uh-huh.
Is this in the Chase Center?
It is.
Oh,
brand
baby.
new. Yeah, the brand new
I
Warriors
ain't been
building.
there yet. Yeah, I would hit the button immediately. Like, hey, that Chiefs news next week, forget about it. It does not matter. It's MUKU for a spot in the Elite 8. That would be amazing. But yeah, I'm super excited for the tournament. I'm excited to see what Cinderella actually
For sure.
makes you feel things in your heart.
Yeah, we'll have Drew send you a link to join our bracket challenge. People want us to get back to football. They said, why aren't you talking about football? They said, have we asked Nate his thoughts
Nate
on...
used to cover basketball.
Exactly.
Oh, I know. He's a Pacers guy.
Yes.
But no, people
Shout
wanted
out
us
to
to
Obi
talk...
Toppin last night.
That's right.
Woo!
That as well. People wanted your draft perspective. We were providing some mock draft insight and reading some analysis that were out there as
This
well.
is what Lance Zerline had to say about
What
a
up,
pick that was in
Lance?
a mock draft today.
He is a girthy lower body with big, meaty hands. Oh, my. Explosive
Yes!
and violent, tight throughout his lower body.
Violent!
You don't want to be tight throughout your lower body. That's not
right.
good. You need to
gotta be loose.
That's right. Nate gets it. Nate gets it.
Look, guys, I cannot stress this enough to our audience. That's half of scouting. Like, that is half
Tight lower body.
That's all it is. Like, it's just half. Like, okay, now I gotta like talk to people and interview the kid and like watch tape and grind, the background and who the kid is from a makeup, whatever. But that first half of scouting, all of us could do that. so I love the fact that I knew exactly where you were going. I was like, yep, we've been in rooms together. No, we haven't. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. You know what? Pick them. Put them on our board.
What do you think, if anything, has changed? Since we're talking draft, has anything changed with the 2 recent signings? Because I think a lot of people's worry, certainly mine, Cody's, when they brought back Kareem Hunt, was as long as this doesn't prevent you from drafting a running back to get more explosive, because otherwise you're in the same problem with the backfield. Not that Pacheco, when he's healthy, can't get back to what he was. I think he can,
right?
But he's not an explosive player, and Kareem Hunt's not an explosive player.
Yeah. The reason why, and I want to just take a little bit of a journey here. The reason why Isaiah Pacheco fell to the 7th round is because of the value of the position and the fact that he ran upright. He was a little upright coming through the hole, and he didn't have like the most elusive moves in the open field. All
those things have bared out.
Yes.
Honestly. He's a productive player, but all those things are still true.
But he was very good with his hands. He was an incredible player at college in terms of development, so that you had a track record to follow him. And, of course, he actually caught the ball really well in college. They just never threw it to him because, have you seen Rutgers quarterback? I mean, it was bad. Anyway, so he kind of got devalued based on the offense he was playing in. But he had enough speed that, like, okay, you can take that guy in the 7th round. Now what you're asking is a combination of these skill sets to where you have a decent amount of size, can catch the football, can have burst or more, perhaps home run top end speed, and maybe make somebody miss in the open field. That's what you're looking for. Gentlemen, is there anybody on the roster who I just said can do all those things?
No.
Then let me tell you guys.
Maybe half.
Running back for me, again, just me, running back for me would be number 2 on my priority list of positions. And I do not think signing Kareem Hunt for a year prevents you from targeting a running back, I think, as early as the 2nd round.
Well, so if they did that, though, then it would be a camp battle for Kareem Hunt and Elijah Mitchell, one of them getting cut, and they'll just eat the $1 million in dead cap, or what?
And because of the way the rosters are now built through the CBA, you could always bring that player, hey, you a vested veteran? Don't answer. Hey, give me your phone, actually. Let me waive you today, or quote, or let me release you. Give me your phone, and then I'll see you back on Tuesday. Like, because you could be on the practice squad. Both guys signed a deal to where they got a nice chunk of change for committing to something now. Obviously, there's a little bit of, I'm assuming, bonuses for workouts, i.e. OTAs, mandatory minicap situations. And then, it doesn't, I also want to make this point too. Like, the Chiefs have 3 tight ends, right? 3 legitimate ones. Let's just say 3 legitimate ones. Assuming Jared Wiley comes back as much as you can hope for from the ACL. Guys, you can have 5 running backs or 4 running backs and a fullback.
They did that camp last year.
Yeah, you just don't need a 4th tight end. So they have multiple options at this, but I would think they have to draft a running back. Now I got to look this up because I just want to remind people, and I'm gonna say this stat. And
they're not drafting one in round 1 though.
Well, we'll see how the board falls. I would say that's probably a little sweet, too sweet for me. I know,
especially after the last time.
I know what you were about to say about Mr. Edwards-Helaire.
Just because you make a mistake doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I would just never draft a running back in the 1st round. But that's like what the Chiefs did for 30 years at quarterback, and it made me nuts.
He better be Jahmyr Gibbs or Bijan Robinson.
Look, if Ashton Genty's at 31, am interested.
Correct.
He'll be gone by like 7, but
or he'll be gone
12.
by like 22. Depending on, again, I think because we're gonna see some things move here. I think in the next 2 weeks, because the coaching staffs will get more involved. Okay. More will come out of the pre-draft visits where we get more medical information. We get another, obviously, setting to just observe you and obviously see how you could fit within our scheme, yada, yada, yada. Guys, they have to take a running back because of this stat. Last season, Patrick Mahomes accounted for 72.5% of the offense's yards. The most of any quarterback in the league. No quarterback, while trying to guide his team.
Even more than like Lamar Jackson?
To an unprecedented three-peat, had more of a burden to carry the offense, literally, than Patrick Mahomes without a left tackle that was serviceable. So, wow. They need to draft a running back because you need to have as many options possible for short yardage, for passing, out of the backfield to develop somebody over the course of, the life of a rookie contract, which is what you've done with Isaiah Pacheco in 2 of the last 3 years. The 3rd year was obviously, warped because of the injury, but even still, he came back and he gave you something, So for the offense to get better, I know we'll still talk about the deep ball and how much is left in Travis Kelce's, ability to be obviously a go-to guy, particularly on 3rd down. The easiest way to make the offense raise its floor is with another running back that you can pair with Pacheco, and that maybe you can use Kareem Hunt as a veteran that you use on short yardage, red zone, maybe occasionally out of the backfield, and obviously a change of pace. You want this rookie running back to develop throughout the course of the year, very similar in the way Isaiah Pacheco did in 2022. And then, of course, there's nobody under contract next year who plays running back for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nate, how do you view the defensive line? I think there's 3 plans on the defensive line that are left on the table as possible options. One, they can sign a defensive lineman, so like Charles Omenihu, or I'm interested if you got other names, and draft another one. They could, 2, not sign a guy like Omenihu and draft multiple defensive linemen with their first 4 picks and cover it that way. Or 3, they're going to draft one guy, and they're way bigger believers in Felix Anudike-Uzomah than they have shown up to this point. So, like, what are, like, the most likely outcomes at the defensive line?
I think for both parties, it should be option 1.
Right.
I would, I know Charles Omenihu's been tweeting and then deleting tweets.
Yeah, he's emotional.
He's frustrated.
He's emotional about it. Yeah.
I get it too, man. We all done been there in life. What the Chiefs should try to do, and again, some of this kind of swings on the Trey Smith franchise tag, lingering on. But the thing I pushed to both parties is a potential 1-year deal, because the league wants to see Charles Omenihu for a full year.
It would seem healthy again.
For a full year, yes. Not suspended, for a full year. So he can reset his value. Could you create, and I've said this before, similar to like the Hollywood Brown contract, a 1-year deal with some incentives attached to it, some of which he can reach, some of which he would obviously have to have a career year to do. And it's not like the coaching staff and the front office doesn't want him back. In actuality, as we just learned, whatever it was a day or two ago with Justin Reed, look, man, Justin Reed wanted to return. The Chiefs didn't really have him as a part of their plan. Charles Omenihu is still a possibility in their plan, and they've got to make it work. Plus, you need to draft probably someone who can grow next to Chris Jones in the interior, and that doesn't prevent you from taking another swing at the position in, say, the 3rd or the 4th round, someone that you feel like you can develop into maybe the next Mike Dana. Again, if I was to, suggest things to the Kansas City Chiefs, defensive line would be number 1 on the draft board priority. Running back would be 2. And then you can maybe say maybe cornerback, maybe offensive line, because you should always take something in the offensive line. And then, like, hey, if the board falls a certain way in the 3rd round, I'm not opposed to you taking another receiver.
Or tight end.
Or tight end, yeah, because of the Kelsey situation as well. There's a reason that they let Justin Watson and DeAndre Hopkins walk while also retaining Juju Smith-Schuster with the intentions of having another rookie receiver be a part of the mix as well.
We're talking to Nate Taylor, our Chiefs insider here on Cody and Gold. Yeah, what about Juju, the signing there? We were just saying, hey, as long as he's actually the 4th or 5th wide receiver,
perfect,
then that's good. If they try to stretch more out of it, then that's when I wouldn't be as excited to have him back.
But at least he's shown that for a night or two last year,
the Saints game.
Yeah, he can. If you can scheme it up, he's still capable enough to give you a good game or two if he needs to be elevated to like wide receiver 2. Now, last year was a bit of an anomaly because obviously Hollywood never even saw opening day. Rashee Rice is out before October. And of course, you're trying to develop Xavier Worthy, but that plan kind of got, adjusted because of the injuries to those to those veteran players as well. So I think for Juju Smith-Schuster, can you be as good, if not a better option than Justin Watson was last year? And hey, if we need you to be a spot starter or two, you've known the offense, you've been in the system long enough, Patrick trusts you, and you know how to run routes off of Travis Kelce, who will obviously get more attention than you.
They're running a lot of it back, and I understand they won 15 games last year. They were in the Super Bowl, despite like how it went. Let's remember.
So it wasn't a bad roster last year. They're returning,
but they're returning a lot. Are they offensively, in your opinion, banking on either drafting a running back to get more explosive as well, or just, hey, we never saw Worthy, Rice, and Brown on the field at the same time, and that would have been fine last year. We would have been explosive. It sure seems like they are banking on, hey, the only reason why this offense struggled, other than left tackle, was that the wide receivers were not the wide receivers we thought we had because they weren't available.
Yes, nothing on paper last year ever met it on the field, guys. Just to be reminded, what was on paper was Kingsley Suamataia, the moment they drafted him, was going to be the starting left tackle. That obviously got ripped up in week 3.
Yeah, that died quick.
And, their biggest free agent acquisition last year was Hollywood Brown to be the number 2 receiver to Rashee Rice as he was sort of propelling to the number one wide receiver in their offense faster than they had anticipated in year 2, even with Travis Kelce trying to figure out, like, how can we manage him over the course of the season to have him be at his absolute best in the postseason, which is something they learned the previous year. Yes, it's both. I think you're right, Alex. They still want to see the idea in its fruition as best they can. Now, unfortunately, and again, I've heard no issues with Rashid Rice rehab, but again, he will be coming off a somewhat significant knee injury. Not devastating, not extremely significant, but somewhat significant. Xavier Worthy, kids, y'all done messed up now, because I think he could have an excellent year 2 if what is on paper actually gets to the field, because Hollywood will have a much better understanding of the offense, let's say week 1, than a year ago, for obvious reasons. Travis Kelce will still be reliable. I know that, until proven otherwise, that this is likely his last year, so he will be motivated to do the best he can with what he has left. And yeah, if we haven't mentioned his name yet, but if Jalen Moore is an upgrade from, let me say all the names, guys: Kingsley Suamataia, Wanye Morris, Joe Tooney, DJ Humphries. If he's
a non-left tackle, a third-round pick who was hurt, a guy who got benched after 2 games. Yeah, probably better than those.
Yeah, so if he's an upgrade, then the offense can get back to being having some more rejuvenation compared to the team. Literally, and this analogy gets put too much or gets said too much, but they had made a plane. It took off. The wing freaking fell off.
They still made it to the Super Bowl.
While in ascent. And they said, we got to rebuild the entire left side of the plane. And they did it in the middle of the season because, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you again, Patrick Mahomes accounted for 72.5% of the yards.
Is their plan at left guard Kingsley? I would just start Kingsley. I'd just do it today. Like, these are the kind of moves professional NFL teams make. Failed tackles become really good guards, like all the time. It is the failed starter becomes a reliever part of the NFL. It is the one position that everyone universally agrees, like, you could probably play inside, just as long as you're not a total joke. And what's funny, like, Kingsley's like, the first game he looked okay.
He did.
And he looked so bad in the second one that they got rid of him. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy. So if
you got some tape and they took advantage of it in a hurry.
And, there's a difference between, like, strength in college and then strength in the NFL, because I want to remind people too, like, when you get to September, no one's hurt yet. No one's dealing with, like,
they're all feeling fresh and healthy.
Like, Trey Hendrickson got to work on this man. If you're a Chiefs fan, I think the name that you hope, not to say he's going to be identical player for player, but we just saw what Mekhi Becton did, going from left tackle to guard. Now,
nice little payday because of that.
Yes, he did. Now, obviously, he had to switch teams because the Jets are the Jets, which says more about the Jets than maybe Mekhi Becton. But look, he struggled at left tackle, but at least he played more games than Kingsley Suamataia did as a rookie. True. And then he got moved. Now, he had injuries as well. And so, there's slight differences to all of this. But he got kicked inside and really blossomed last year with the Eagles. One of the reasons why the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They fixed their offensive line by moving a guy that was never projected to be a guard entering the league to guard, and it worked out. Now, Jim Harbaugh's trying to do the same thing where he's just like, I have a really good quarterback who's talented, but you know what he needs? He needs maulers up front. So if Kingsley Suamataia can transition to that starting this upcoming season, you still have Mike Caliendo as a floor to go back to.
He was fine.
He was fine. I think people should view Mike Caliendo the way they view Andrew Wiley, because no one remembers, but I do, how poor Andrew Wiley looked in Super Bowl 55, because they put him from guard to left tackle, and it went from guard to right tackle because they moved Mike Remmers from right tackle to left tackle.
They were so fried.
And it was overwhelming.
And Wiley was a nice starting guard for a contending team last year.
Yes, and he moved to tackle and got better and developed under Andy Heck. That's actually probably one of Andy Heck's last success stories. Just put it out there.
People are after Heck now because the offensive line gotten cooked in 2 Super Bowls.
Well, all right, here's the positive for Andy Heck. He did develop Andrew Wiley to be multi-positional, and he got Nick Allegretti from, what, a 6th, 7th round draft?
Doesn't he get credit for Trey Smith? I'm not his agent here, but if I was Andy Heck, I would say if I was Andy Heck, I'd say I don't get any credit for Trey Smith. I don't get any credit for Creed Humphrey.
The reason he fell to the 6th round,
I understand, was medicals. I know
the medical situation.
I understand, yeah.
This is always the same thing, though.
He was self-made on arrival. But you know who was the best center in the league the moment he entered the league?
Creed. But I do kind of hate that notion because this happens sometimes with Mahomes.
No, he didn't mess him up.
But that's the only that's the only thing is he doesn't get credit for the guys that were perceived to be good coming out. But Kingsley was perceived to be good when he got drafted, but because he wasn't good last year, it's his fault.
I remember him being presented and labeled as all the athletic traits, looks like a left tackle. The feet are, guys, look at Kingsley Suamata'ia's left tackle tape at BYU and look at what Orlando Brown's doing right now in the league.
Yeah.
His footwork made people dream, including Andy Reid. He wasn't as refined as you would want. But again, that's hard to do when you're drafting someone late in the second round and he's more of a idea. He's more of a potential than as Creed or as Trey, built-in products. You can plug them in. You're going to obviously polish some of the last, techniques and whatever, and understanding schemes of what defenses are trying to do in the NFL, which is slightly different than college. But in terms of raw physical talent, Kingsley had not put it all together. But the hope and the belief was, hey, you got a offensive line coach who played in the NFL at the position for a number of years. You have Andy Reid. Obviously, his background is through tight ends and offensive line coach. You're going to have a quarterback who's not a freaking statue, so that'll help in Patrick Mahomes. And, of course, you're going to give him as many first-team reps as you can throughout the entire offseason and training camp, which they did. So, again, you could be right about a number of things, and then the games get played, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's why he was a late second-round pick, because it's more potential than actual what it is day one as a rookie.
We got Nate Taylor hanging out with us. A couple more minutes. We'll on the other side ask you about Trey Smith. You alluded to him and the franchise tag lingering. We'll get the latest, what you're hearing. Could that be coming soon, or are we going to have to wait till the middle of July? Nate Taylor tells us next.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Van.
Grab your phones and dancing shoes. It's time to make entries. It's March, college basketball, and you can do it over at Underdog. Nothing beats March basketball. We know that. There's games tonight. And you can make fun with your bracket. You can make entries over on Underdog because it's one of the leading sports apps that you can play in your state. So you're sitting on your couch on the Missouri side today and you're like, well, I want to make a selection. You can do that. All you have to do is choose which player will go higher or lower on their stats, points, assists, rebounds, anything and everything in between there available over at Underdog. Look, you create those entries. You can pay with as little as $1. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. So, yeah, you can turn $1 into $1,000 with your basketball knowledge. Look, millions of fans have won billions over at Underdog, and you could play next. Download the Underdog app today. Sign up with that promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus credits when you make your first deposit. Sign up with that promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, and claim your special offer today. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Term apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
All right, I got an update for you. Remember last week I told you I started Awaken 180 weight loss? Well, in just 2 weeks, I've already lost 12 pounds. Yeah, 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And I know you're like, all right, Cody's been dodging all this stuff. You guys know we went out and did the big listener stuff last week. I'm not skipping dinners. I don't live in a bubble. It's not like that. It's been the opposite. So thanks to Awaken 180, I'm still living my normal life while dropping 12 pounds. Didn't stop me from doing all the normal stuff, just like you. Went to go watch basketball in person last week and everything else, all while losing the weight, and give you the tools you need to do it. Let them help you reach your weight loss goal, just exactly like they're doing for me. I wanted to improve my quality of life, and so can you. Makes me feel better, I feel better, and it's a weekly weight loss without the medications, and you receive free support for life. If you want to learn more, reserve your at-home consultation today at awaken180weightloss.com or give them a call 844-346-1800.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Folks are always asking me about QC Kinetics treatments. They want to know if they should consider it for their joint pain. If you're wondering if you are a good candidate, let's see if you answered a yes to any of these questions. First question, is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or other joints? Do you have trouble sleeping, walking, and doing day-to-day movements? Next, do you want to avoid surgery and all of the pain, long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing things you love because joint pain is holding you back? Walking, golfing, jogging. If you answered yes to any of those, I bet you'd be a great candidate. So please don't wait. Call QC Kinetics right now and ask for your free consultation. Learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can get you lasting pain relief with no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299. Regardless of what you may think or hear about the real estate market, you can sell your home right now. It takes a skilled real estate agent to help you maximize the sale of your home quickly and effectively. Dawn Sharp and her team are the first call you should make. With a customized and strategic marketing system, Dawn can help you get your home sold. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. Visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com and start packing.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
This is the story of the one. As a quality technician in a food processing center, she knows that making the right call is the best way to avoid a recall. That's why she trusts Grainger's world-class supply chain to deliver the high-quality supplies she needs to help keep her production line, her equipment, and her customers happy and healthy. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
T-Mobile home internet is all about speed, value.
What you doing, Zach?
There are so many benefits. You got to talk fast.
T-Mobile home internet ranks #1 in customer satisfaction for home wireless internet by J.D. Power.
Wow, you are good.
Try singing it. T-Mobile has price lock.
They won't raise your rate on internet.
Hulu and Paramount Plus on them.
Get T-Mobile home internet all in for just $55 a month with auto pay and any postpaid voice line.
Additional terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, and sometimes it's like
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh, yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the
Not with Fix Finder. Free at every AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
So, your small business is outgrowing your garage. You could go online, find a space, and get catfished. Or you could work with an agent who's a realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
It's Power Torque Tools DIY days at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Lifetime guaranteed Power Torque professional hand tools only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com, Renner forward and back.
RENNER. Opening day coverage is brought to you by Hollywood Casino. Stop by Hollywood Casino every Wednesday in March from 12 until 2 to register for your chance to win opening day tickets. Your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We got Nate Taylor joining us in studio for another couple of minutes. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Nate Taylor from The Athletic, our Chiefs insider. I teased before we went to break what you had said about Trey Smith, like, hey, maybe that's impacting some moves or this offseason. What's the latest there? We know he has signed the franchise tag. We know the deadline's in the middle of July to reach a long-term deal. Otherwise, he would play under the tag.
Right.
Did they think this would already be resolved? Is this surprising to them even? Or where are you hearing?
I don't know if it's surprising. I would say, look, at one point in time, right before free agency, before they, rejiggered all the contracts, especially with Chris and Patrick, that they didn't really have a ton of cap space. I'm on over the cap right now. They're middle of the pack. They could still make a deal or two if they really wanted to, i.e., Charles Omenihu.
Yeah.
One of y'all call the other. What are we doing, guys? That
Have
is
a chat.
That's
it makes too much sense for him to come back at this point.
Right. That's what surprises me, I guess, more than the Trey Smith. But in terms of Trey Smith, now that we know that the Bengals actually said what they were going to say, okay, they got Jamar done. T. Higgins is not going to play on the tag for a second year, which would have been criminal in terms of roster building and obviously trying to project money moving forward with the salary cap. The Chiefs are the only team with a player on the franchise tag. It better not get to July. Hell, it better not get to May. You could say, look, from Trey's standpoint, you sign the franchise tag. This is where we're starting. Now, similar to the Chris Jones situation where it's like, okay, we love Aaron Donald. We're not giving you a contract that's better than Aaron Donald.
They got close, but yeah, they didn't get
real
better.
Close. But that was the hiccup. That was the hiccup the entire time, was just like, hey, man, we understand you're great, but like that contract is unprecedented compared to everybody else. Well, guess who has a contract that don't make sense compared to every other right guard right now? I know it's only for a year, but that 23.4, the moment he signed it,
kind of made the number.
That's the number. That's where we starting. Actually, we kind of starting at 24.
Considering that every other position has taken at least a 5% jump, it's actually not that crazy. The lowest jump any of these regular positions take is running back, and that was like a 5 or 6% jump for that.
Correct.
Corner took a 25%.
Also,
it took a huge jump, a 15.
Let's not forget, it took the running back position to jump up after a historic season unlike any other from Saquon Barkley.
But Derek
that ended up with a championship.
Stingley took the number from 25 to 30,
which is wild.
Now there are a few other positions. Guard took a pretty good jump this offseason too.
Yes. Now there's a little bit of
some of the reporting with the agents playing the game.
Yeah.
No, I looked at the Stingley numbers. They were out officially today. It's not really. It's more like 81 guaranteed, but it's not nothing. I mean,
it's like 27.5 essentially.
Yeah.
So just for context purposes, look, the right guards right now are about $20 million a year. If you want to say left guard because the quarterback's blindside, yada yada yada. Okay. Landon Dickerson from the Eagles makes $21 million a year. Trey Smith right now is at 23.4. Okay,
I don't know why I can't just say 22 a year and call it good.
Now, here's what I was about to say, Cody. 23.5, but you taking this 5th year. I'm sorry. Like,
guess you're going to be here a minute.
Guess what Chris Jones took, boys? A 5th year. And it'll help us move things around, as you just saw a couple weeks ago before free agency. Hey, we're just going to take that contract. We can dice it up however we want. Here's a little extra cash in your bank account. Now it creates this cap space. So, hey, if you want to be here, which he does, I want to make this very clear to everybody. Trey Smith is not trying to be whatever. Whatever's in your mind, that's not the case. He wants to be here.
I'm sure he was psyched to get tagged, honestly. Because he was here.
Had he got to free agency, there are some people within the league that thought the Chicago Bears or the New England Patriots were going to give this man $25 million a year.
I think he probably would have gotten that.
So here's where the hiccup is. He's at 23.4 right now. I said, hey, maybe we start at 24. But this isn't tampering, but if I know that like maybe a team is going to offer you 25 on the market, why don't we start at 25.5? Whoa, okay, you're getting out of hand. So again, they're going to have to come to some compromise, of course. I think they will. They've had very good conversations. I don't think much has changed since the combine, other than the Chiefs being like, wait, what? They're going to offer him how much? Hey, call Clark back. Like, call Clark Hunt and be like, hey, I know this wasn't the plan. If he even gets to free agency, it's a wrap. So you want to use that franchise tag? Now, we can't use a franchise tag all the way up to July because that hamstrings you from a salary cap situation. And based on your conversation about Mr. Derek Stingley Jr.,
now you get him to deal with McDuffie. Yeah.
You need to get a deal by Trent McDuffie before the season starts.
Yeah.
If you're a Chiefs fan right now, you should hope that either before the draft or right after the draft, the Chiefs and Trey Smith come to some agreement. 4-year deal, 5-year deal, don't matter. He's on the team, guys. And then based on those projections, based on what you are going to do with Patrick's money, Chris's money, a little bit of Creed's money, I guess at that point, obviously the cap is projected to go up as always. You need to do what you did with Creed Humphrey last year with Trent McDuffie this upcoming August. Get a deal done before we even get to September, much of the same way you did with Creed Humphrey.
I know you got to leave here in just a minute. I'll just ask one more thing about Trent. There was a rumor that, like, last year that she's like, hey, we'd love to pay you. And he's like, nah, we're good. We'll wait. Is there some truth to that? Like, did he, like,
I don't know if it's a thing, but...
Or was it just like a casual conversation? Like, hey, want to get paid now? And he's like, I can wait, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. I think he's been...
No, he was wise.
He's been advised to do that, honestly. Your agent, with the 5th-year option, understands that, like, we could maybe cut it in half. Again, it's smart for the team to try to get ahead of the deal because, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this definitively, and I'm sorry, Cody, the best draft pick that Brett Veach has ever had is Trent McDuffie, full stop.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
It used to be Creed Humphrey. It is not Creed Humphrey anymore. It is...
Because of the value of the position.
Yes.
He's great.
And he's the highest, and I think some people forget this, it's the highest draft pick the Chiefs have ever had under the Brett Veach era.
He's even had a first-round pick like 3 times.
They've never drafted the top 20 since Patrick Mahomes existed.
That's a weird like thing with Mahomes or with Veach that people are like, he's not good at taking first-round picks. I'm like, no, you are way off on that.
Correct.
He hasn't had a first-round pick 3 times. He's taken Karlaftis, McDuffie,
Worthy.
He's taken starters, and then he had one miss in FAU.
Clyde, at least they got use out of for 3.
Clyde was good for 2 years. Now, injuries and things obviously...
Felix is the one that fairly people obviously
but that's 3
are going
hits, 2 misses, and 2 did not participate.
You want me to say the thing out loud? You want me to say the thing out
please.
loud? I mean,
that was an ownership thing.
Yay! I didn't say it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Mr. Gold. But hey, I got the trophy in my hand. Make a pick!
I said that Friday of the NFL draft last year.
2 years now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, you think I'll go to the owners meeting in like 2 weeks in when they make whatever rule changes. You think Clark Hunt will acknowledge this on the record?
I don't think so.
Now, hey man, you had the trophy in your hands. The draft was in Yo City. You got the new airports, the hotels are popping off. You the defending champs. I get it. Make the pick. Do you think he'll acknowledge it?
No.
I mean that like honestly. Because, owners are people too, ladies and gentlemen. Like, hey, the draft is a crapshoot, literally. And this involves people and egos and different circumstances every year. You cannot look at the draft, and I know I'm going on a soliloquy now, but you cannot look at the draft every year like it's the same thing. That's not true. Circumstances change, rosters change, priorities change, and sometimes...
Off-field circumstances change?
Yes, and sometimes the owner of your football team has the Vince Lombardi trophy in his hand.
In front of the entire city.
And you know what would make this even a cherry on top? He from here? Yeah, do it.
That's the part that was...
He's from here, in a position of need? Do it! Now, you still got the 5th-year option on that, just like you have the 5th-year option on Trent McDuffie. So who knows? Maybe Felix Enudike-Uzama progresses in year 3 and year 4.
I just want him to become like a Turk Wharton player.
Yeah, and
like
it actually becomes
productive.
a better pick than it does after year 1 or year 2. That's fine. But the owner is a person too, and I want him to acknowledge on the record that, hey man, I got feelings too. It was in my heart. Even though they said we could probably trade down. Man, bleep trading down. I got the trophy in my hand. Come on.
Nate Taylor, Chiefs insider from The Athletic. We know you got to run, man. Thanks for coming in studio. Always great insight from Nate. Also, join our bracket challenge.
Yes, sir. We'll do.
Please do that.
Come on, Dennis Gates. Give me one. Give me one run, baby. Come on.
I think that's out of the question.
Oh, my goodness.
While we were in break, we also got the renderings for the Cleveland Browns Stadium.
Yeah, very cool.
Looks like it's going to be outside of Ohio, or outside of Cleveland, Ohio, not Ohio in general.
That'd be really weird.
Outside of Cleveland, Ohio. There's a lot of borders over there. That old, Cincinnati, Ohio, Louisville triangle. I don't understand. There's a lot of, I feel like there's just a lot of borders over there, and I don't understand.
That's true. What is it? What is it? I get the cities confused. The airport for Indianapolis is in Louisville. Is that right, or something in Kentucky, or something like that? Yeah, it's something. What is it?
Cincinnati's airport is in Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what it is.
No sense.
That's what it is. Yeah, thank you.
Cincinnati International is in Kentucky.
Yes,
sure, of course.
But no,
why not?
The video renderings look really cool. I think what we were discussing during the break about it is, and we all know the Chiefs and Royals are still trying to figure out what they want to do, but just from a rendering perspective, that Browns rendering, much like the Tennessee Titans stadium, it doesn't look like everybody else's stadium from the outside. That's what's kind of cool about the renderings versus kind of the typical oval shaped or whatever stadium. The Titans stadium in Nashville looks like a sports bar from the outside to a certain extent, and then the inside it's this unbelievable football stadium. Versus just the same cookie cutter stuff, which I think has also been a complaint from some people. Take away the moving from KC or from Missouri to Kansas or not, whatever happens there. It's just like, hey, we don't want the stadium to look like the cookie cutter brand new retractable roof stadiums that everybody has.
Well, especially because Arrowhead is unique. Part of what makes it special is its uniqueness, right? The football-shaped scoreboards, if you will, or just the way in which the concourses were built between the two stadiums and all the other stuff. They have unique features. This one looks huge. Because obviously it's a lot of what John Sherman talked about before, mixed use development.
That's why the Browns are going to the suburbs.
It looks like a massive run up just to get to the stadium. And then inside the stadium, there are, some unique features that don't look like any other stadium that I've seen put out there or rendering that I've seen put out there. I understand there's a limit, right? When you're making a gigantic rectangle that has to have a rectangle in the middle of it, or a circle that has to have a rectangle in the middle of it. But this one does look unique.
Yeah, and I don't know if they've gotten it fully approved out in Cleveland yet anyway, or the Cleveland area. $2.4 billion is the price tag, and the owners, the Haslams, have said they've had a pitch for half the cost, are going to the public for half the cost, is at least the reporting out of the Cleveland area for what they're looking for. $1.2 billion in public financing for an enclosed stadium in Brook Park.
Enclosed, no outside? That doesn't feel like Cleveland football. That's just the way of the land. But
it does say they haven't given up on convincing the state and the county there in the Cleveland area to issue bonds to bridge the gap. So they are still also not done yet. They figured out where they want to go, unlike maybe here, but they haven't figured out the public financing mechanism there either.
No.
Think about how many new stadiums. I mean, I get it; it's cyclical kind of thing, but the Bills are
Bears are working on
the
one.
Bills are a year away from building. The Bears want a new one. Yeah. Cleveland wants a new one. Nashville's building a new one. The Broncos are talking about renovating or building a new stadium. The Chiefs are obviously talking about renovating or building a new stadium. The Texans have already decided that they want to now renovate their stadium. What is that? Did I just list 6 stadiums over the next 7 years, 5 years that are going to be new and renovated in the NFL? It's kind of wild. And some of those aren't even that old. The Texans stadium, while it does need renovating, was built in what was that, 03?
How old is Mile High?
Mile High, the new Mile High or whatever at the time was viewed as new Mile High. I don't know. That's a good question.
I'm kind of surprised that they're already talking about it. I don't think it's been around too long, but I could be completely wrong.
They were talking about they got renovations, I feel
opened
like.
in 01. So it's still 20. So it's coming up on the 25th year, and it's like, oh, it's time to renovate or build a new one. Should I just be
thankful that they built Arrowhead so sturdily that we did not need a new one in at least 50 years, 60 years, you know?
If you compare it to some of these other places, they only got 20 years, 25 years out of their stadium. I mean, there is some truth to that for sure. The Texans NRG Stadium, I think it's called now. It was like Reliant Stadium before. It opened in 2002, so just like the Broncos. Obviously, what was the other one I mentioned that they're talking about? Nissan Stadium is a dump there in Nashville.
Yeah, you said and that's the ones that frustrate you.
It
the
really
ones that
is.
aren't
It's a
that
bare
old,
bones.
and you're like, how did you guys
screw
screw this up so bad?
99 is when that was built. That's just like a truly like a concrete, no thrills
It's
dump.
in a cool spot, but it's
sure it is. Yeah, Nashville's great, and their new stadium rendering looks awesome.
Like right by the lake or the whatever river. Whatever river it is.
I don't know rivers of Nashville, I'm afraid.
Would that be the Mississippi? No, Cumberland. Sorry, Cumberland River.
Big enough. There's bridges, a lot of bridges, like nice bridges. But anyways, we don't need to talk about bridges.
What other waterways do we need to talk about today? You know.
Well, the Bengals are next to the Ohio River, and there I think they've had talks about renovating or potentially relocating down the line. It's not now by any means, but they're within the next 4 or 5 years. They're going to be talking about it too. I think.
Someone's like, Arrowhead got a good batch of concrete. That's you know, we got a good batch of concrete here
at
Arrowhead.
Good batch,
bad batch in Mile High, bad batch everywhere else.
Is that a surprise that a quarter of the league is potentially looking at that stuff, or is it?
It's weird that it's happening right at this time because we're talking about the Chiefs as well. So that's probably why it feels weird. But
yes, but also I think part of it is just look at where the economics of the sport have grown and how much money is in it and how much more money is to be made. They're not stupid or bad business people. The final 180 seconds of the show, the Cody Gold 180. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week, and then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. But yeah, it's not surprising to me because it's just such big business. What's interesting to me is
want the new revenue opportunities with the suites and everything else, premium spaces, premium areas.
Some
in these
owners
stadiums.
aren't smart enough.
Clark's not even trying to do the multi-use stuff yet. Like that's not even been discussed when they were trying to get the regular Arrowhead. They were willing to just stay with a gas station and a Taco Bell across the street and a burnt down Denny's. They just wanted
Have they torn that Denny's down officially yet?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it burned down quite a while ago.
Yeah, over a year now.
So
at least
I don't think they're trying to save that one. Do you?
Yeah, people are asking us where the draft party is this year. We will have some sort of announcement at some point over the next couple of weeks, I believe. But
I think we'll have something. But
we will be doing something, yes. But I don't believe we've gotten the go ahead to announce that from the boss.
So we'll let you know.
Yeah,
on that.
But there is going to be something
in the works.
Yep. Yeah,
in the works. So I guess. Stay tuned all the time.
If
Never
you
leave 96.5 The Fan. Just listen constantly, and then you'll hear it eventually.
If you are having issues joining our bracket challenge here on Cody and Gold, maybe you can also DM Drew on Twitter at Drew B. Nix.
Multiple people have already. Yeah.
And he will try sending you the link there if the text line has not worked.
It works. It works every time, apparently.
A lot of you have gotten it to work through text, but we know some of you are having issues. You can join the bracket pool. We'll have a prize pack for the winner. And appreciate those of you that have already joined. Looks like we gained a good amount of people again today, so that's awesome.
There's a lot of people who have also completed a full, almost 2 pages.
I filled mine out, but I reserved the right to
I've made 3 adjustments
renovate,
already. I've changed my Final Four twice already.
I haven't made a single solitary pick in mine yet.
Did you print out a bracket earlier?
Okay. So first
earlier,
of all,
this computer
I got an alert that said printer.
Yeah,
you see that too? And it said bracket.
Wait, what?
Did you print out a bracket earlier?
I did.
Just be warned. Anytime you print anything, I know what you're printing.
Yeah, if it says Drew's resignation, before we're gonna know. Don't print it off here. Don't print it. If it says Drew's, upset. If it says Drew's application, anything, we're gonna know.
So I always print a bracket out beforehand and I write the whole thing down. That's my official one. This one is more like
handwritten bracket.
Oh yeah,
old school.
I go and I take notes. So
take notes.
The one that I just printed out during breaks, I'm going and I'm taking notes on a few different games and everything like that. I'm trying to.
Ooh.
I take it way
You'll
too
finish last because of this. That's how brackets work. Not your own doing. I'm just saying,
take it way too seriously.
All this research gets you nowhere in bracket pools sometimes.
Most of the time, it is completely and totally useless. The best year I've ever had, I got 13 out of the 16, 7 out of the 8, all Final Four, and the championship.
Last year, we looked at, I think the winner or listener was named, is it Jack, I believe, was the winner.
Yes.
I think, Drew, it was you, then me, then Cody,
it was a rough
finished.
start for me.
Cody got off to a
Sweet
great
16,
start.
I was in first place.
right? Cody was way towards
At
the
the
top.
Sweet 16, I was in first place. All my teams lost.
And then he
immediately.
lost the Final Four. And so once the Final Four hit, you and I gained a ton of ground because we still had UConn, I think, winning it or alive or whatever it is. But yeah, Drew will get you hooked up on the bracket. We're back at it tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit more about tonight's action too, right? North Carolina, San Diego State. We'll talk more tourney tomorrow on the show. For now, though, we hand it off to C-Dot and Rob on the drive.
This